Guys, what's yes, I'm doing one of these for Man United. Yes, it is what it is. Welcome to these club shows. So the nature of these club shows are, we take a club and we do a deep dive over the next hour or so into all facets of said club and so forth. And we talk about everything, from the good, the bad, the managers, the ups and downs, players coming in, players going, coming, so forth. And what I always try to encourage are for fans of said club to come in and give their thoughts. And I didn't want to do Man United, but request after request after request after request, I said, you know what?
We're the biggest club in the world.
Can I bring this in? So I said, based off me having to be a football analytical savant, I have to do this for the streets. So here we are, and we're talking about United. So we're going to talk about everything from Solskjaer to Pogba to Mino Raiola to Martial's loss of form to the introduction of Bruno Fernandes. We're going to even look back at Fergie and just look at United as a whole of what happened and where did this all go wrong, from Fergie to Moyes and so forth. So this is going to be a full-on deep dive, pretty much investigating every single nook and cranny of Manchester United. How did it go from Manchester United to Boychester divided? So we have Sean up in here, we have Henry up in here, we have Chimere up here, and of course, you know him from Hangars and so forth, Lead Level Ludio, aka Red Devil Studio, who has his own YouTube channel as well. Please, if you're a United fan and so forth, and you want good quality Man United content, please, I suggest, I demand you go and give him a sub to his channel, and you check out his channel. Quality Man United stuff from Red Devil Studio.
Appreciate it.
So, without further ado, I think let's start first with our good friend Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So he's going to be given a new contract, and this seems as if he's now going to be tasked with the long-term reigns of bringing Man United back to the fold. I am not sure whether Ole is the right man. And no, scratch that. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not the right man for what I think United fans want. So this is where I'm confused, hence why I want to start with this, because I want to just see where United fans are with this. Now, I'm assuming, I may be wrong, but I'm assuming that United fans want to go back to the days of Fergie. You are winning Premier Leagues, you are realistically competing for Premier League titles, and you are a force to be reckoned with in Europe. Many people would have said that if United ever ran into arguably one of the most dominant club sides of all time, they could have had 2 extra seals. So he has this new contract and so forth. So my thing is, there seems to be a side of United fans that are like, nope, he's done better than the previous managers. That we've tried the previous managers, they failed, and he's done better. So therefore, he understands the club. He's a club legend, so therefore he is best placed to move the club forward. My thing is he of the caliber of a Pep, of a club, and so forth? Was Mourinho backed? Was he truly supported? Was Van Gaal backed? Was he fully supported? And do you, in your heart of hearts, believe in the long term, Solskjaer is the right man? If it's about, okay, steer us in the right position for a few years, then you now bring in someone to take over, okay, that may make sense. But if it's a case of, no, he's the dude, he's the right man, we believe that this is the guy to take us forward, then I've got questions. So let me bring in Red Devil Studio into this man. Red Devil.
Okay.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, new contracts, keep it real. Is he the right man to move United forward? Keep it a stack, please.
So do you want me to answer as a fan, or do you want to be like properly objective from the whole, top-down level, the nature of Manchester United as a club, etc.? Because there's the fan thing, but I think that the fan reaction, I don't think is realistic given what I perceive the direction of the club to go with.
I am an objective merchant.
Yeah.
I'm not a pom-pom cheerleader. Give me that objective crap.
The realism, yeah, exactly. So the realism here is that if you actually step aside from Ollie for a second and actually look at, for example, the under 21 So the youth team set a coaching staff. If you look at, for example, the recent appointments of the technical director and director of football, there's a clear pattern. There's a clear pattern in the club. And to be fair to the board, they've said multiple times that they're not, that the direction seems to be about the, in quote, united way, the kind of old school kind of lads club type of sort of thing where people who have ties links to the club get positions in the club. That's why Nick Kibar, though he's left, was under 21, I'm sure will be replaced. That's why Darren Fletcher's obviously coming as the new technical director of football. And John Matoga, who's now the new director of football at the club. He's been at the club for ages. So if the mindset of the board of the club was, you know what, we want to get the best of the best, the best of the best, you would have hired or searched for a top quality director of football, a technical director, or under 21 staff, etc. I don't necessarily think that that's the direction that Manchester United football club is going right now. And I think that when you look at those guys around him, I think that as far as they're concerned,
why not? Why not? Why is that the reason? Why not?
I think two reasons, and I can only speculate, but I think one of them possibly is just what's happened in the past. I think the Glazers, obviously there was the David Moyes appointment, which was Sir Alex Ferguson, and partly Sir Alex Ferguson's recommendation. That didn't work out. Then obviously they went with Van Gaal and Mourinho, both of whom have won multiple domestic titles, Champions League, etc. Heavily invested financially. That didn't work out. And so Ed Woodward and the board there's been a clear sort of change that, well, we can't go about spending buttloads of money, for example, especially if we factor in the pandemic situation now. We need to have some degree, because the reality is there's always been this idea of stability. Manchester United have always been, and we're not like Chelsea, not like in a sense of like we can have a rotating,
relax, easy, watch a song,
Chelsea dub, Chelsea dub, Chelsea dub, Chelsea dub, CL dub.
Can I focus on United, please? Thank you.
just FYI. So like stability in the job has always been something that, from what I can see on the board, is important, more so than a revolving door. And so I think that is what the club value from a top ground to youth level. And so Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has, whether you like or not, has brought a degree of stability, because to Ole's credit, what you could say is even if he left tomorrow, it had been the first manager since Sir Alex that has basically left the team in a better position than when he got it. That's something that at least is to Ole's credit. So I think that's what the club want. I think that's what the board want. I don't think that's necessarily what the fans want, because obviously we want to compete for Premier Leagues, Champions League, etc., the highest level. But I think if fans are actually realistic, if you actually go back to even the latter years of Sir Alex Ferguson.
How did Van Gaal leave the club in a worse position?
In terms of the players that were at the club, the fact that the club was out of the Champions League, not the Champions League spot, so fifth with an FA Cup. So if that's what I mean. What was my training for? Yeah. So even if we look at like the latter years of Sir Alex Ferguson, to be honest, when you actually look at post Cristiano Ronaldo leaving Madrid, aside from like I probably would say Van Nistelrooy in the penultimate season winning that Premier League, we didn't actually make a lot of good signings under the Glazers, and we were relying on almost the tactical brilliance of Sir Alex Ferguson as a coach to make the best out of the squad players that he had, somewhat similar to Arsene. So the reality is it wasn't like he was getting hundreds of millions of pounds to spend on. The way that the board was spending the money, even in the latter years of Sir Alex Ferguson, wasn't particularly great. And the quality that we're getting wasn't particularly great either. It's just that Sir Alex Ferguson was a legendary coach. So, I mean, in conclusion, I think that the reality is that, at least right now anyway, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has achieved what I suspect the board and the higher ups of Manchester United Football Club have set him to achieve, which is he's improved on last season so far. He's got a top four objective with Champions League football, which brings in additional revenue to the club. Because let's be real, a Carabao Cup and FA Cup doesn't give you, it's a trophy, great, cool, but it's not going to give you the revenue that a Champions League spot and Champions League football does. That's the fact. So as an employer, he's done that. He's going to get a new contract and he's going to be rewarded for it. That's the realistic take on it, not the fan take on it, because obviously I want to compete, but the realistic take.
Okay, so give me your fan take in this situation, because I now want to hear because I thought your fan take would be different, but now I now want to hear your fan take of, okay, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the guy, new contract, boom.
The frantic of it me is that it comes back to the fact that the board is. I think that if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was given at least half of the signings that he wanted last season, we'd certainly be in a better position. I don't think he's as trash a man as people think, and I think that when you see what he's done with players that have come inside that have been of quality, like Bruno, like Pogba, and so on, even Biasford, whatever, they've done bits. So clearly,
Okay, so you're saying that. Let's create a scenario.
yeah.
If Ole is given every single player that he wants, all of his signings, you believe that he would succeed where Van Gaal and Mourinho failed?
I think so. I think so because and the key thing is because people have been on tactics. I get that. I think that tactics is important, but it's clear to me, and I'm sure even Nixon agrees, that Ollie is a very good man manager. And I think that now in the sort of 20th century where football is, being a good man manager, I would argue, is just as important, if not more important, than having good tactics. With Mourinho, by definition, is a better tactical manager than Ollie, let's say, but Spurs in a complete mess, disarray, there's dividing, etc. Because I don't think Mourinho's man management skills are that great, despite what he's achieved. And so I think with football going forward, that is what you need. So I think he's able, with the players that come into generally, not with everyone, but generally, to create an environment where players can actually succeed and actually do well. So I think he deserves props for that. But the reality is, and this is where people be shocked by opinions, that I don't think he's going to be backed or spent. So if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not going to get the proper backing to compete or achieve, because he's not that good enough of a manager, you might as well bring in a more experienced, a better top tier.
So why wouldn't he be backed? Because the board just don't want to spend the money.
They won't. And I mean, I was on someone's other show about this before, and I was like, I can imagine a scenario with the Glazers right now where they're thinking, and I hate to bring Chelsea into this, but I bring it. They'll say, "Oh, look, Abraham spent 200 million with Chelsea, and comparing in the situations, they're not in that dissimilar situation to us having spent less. So why should we go out on the transfer market, obviously with COVID hit, etc., and go out and spend 200 million when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has given us more or less effectively what we want when other rival teams have spent more, have not achieved successively more? That's what they're going to think. So I don't think he's going to get the proper backing next year, even this year. If he does, I'll be very surprised. And so if that's the case, that's going to be the long-term case, then to be honest, yes, you need to get a better tactical, better quality manager that can come in and can do, not because I think that he can't succeed, but because he's reaching his limit with the players that he currently has right now. I don't think you can win a Premier League with Daniel James playing on the right wing, for example, or Freddie McTominay in a midfield, or Bantam Maguire, or Linda, what have you. I don't think even Pep could win it, so it just is what it is.
All right. Let me come to Sean here with this one. So, Sean, in your view, specifically with what Red Devil has said and what he's put down, do you think, or would you want Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to continue? And do you think that under him, United can go for, like, what are your thoughts, taking everything into account, with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer now being the manager, taking United forward? Do you have confidence in that, or do you still think that someone can come in and do a better job based on where United are right now?
I think from what we've seen so far, with the job he's been able to do, has been, I would say, it's a 7 out of 10 so far. I feel like he's achieved with what he's been able to do, with the amount of players he's lost, such as a Lukaku or Ander Herrera, and he hasn't been able to get his proper signs in. But is he the man to win you a Premier League or a Champions League? I don't think so. But at the moment, it's like, let him just try and see what he does right now, and then we'll see what goes on.
But do you believe that he can? Let's say we have a scenario where he gets backed, he gets given his players. Do you believe, from what you've seen as a manager, he will be able to deliver if he gets backed?
I think from what we saw at the first half of the season, we saw what he was able to do with that Manchester United team without any really first team signings in the summer. And I feel it's like the drop off in January into February was due to the lack of squad depth or like the quality exactly from when you saw when Pogba got injured and then we had to rely on Fred and McTominay more so and Matic more so. And now we've seen with like Rashford, we've seen more struggling.
So, bottom line, are you happy with Oli at the reign and Oli at the wheel? Are you happy? Or you would rather have a different manager? Just as of right now, are you saying, yep, Oli can win that's the trophy, not just compete, not just qualify? Do you believe that Oli can either win an FA Cup, win a Premier League, if he's given, he's in charge?
I'm not really sure because we've gotten to 4 semi-finals and we lost 4, and that is a problem where you're getting towards that stage, but you're falling towards the end. I'm seeing what with Oli. I'm happy for what he's doing. I'm not sure if you ask many Man United fans, do you think Oli could win the league? And I'm pretty sure at least at 90% would say no. But I believe he is leading us in the right direction where for the next manager, so like it'll take much less time to maybe add 1 or 2 more signings to compete for the league, where with other managers we always had to restart from Moyes to LVG, then from LVG to Jose, and now to Jose to Oli.
So basically, so you say stick with it.
I say from what you see right now, there's not really many managers available at the moment, as you see with Pochettino's at PSG, because I believe if Oli wasn't here, I think Pochettino would be the manager that Ed Woodward and the Glazers would want, because they've been wanting him since from even before they got Jose. It was between him and Jose.
Okay.
And even someone like a Tuchel, he's currently at Chelsea. And I think it's more so, and even like personally, I would like a Julian Nagelsmann, but I'm not sure if he's like ready to take the amount of pressure from that job. Maybe just like wait, maybe a year or 2 for him to develop as a manager and then take a job of that stature.
Okay. So before I come to your boy Chimere in there, guys, remember, if you're in there, drop a like, hit a subscribe, and if there's any comment you desperately want to make, because we've got loads of topics to roll through, but if there's any comments you definitely want to make, feel free to send the supers, feel free to send a dub, and I am keeping aware of all of the dubs, so don't worry. If you send a dub, I will get to your dub as soon as possible. I've got the dub tab open. I'll get to your dubs as soon as possible. If there's anything you desperately want to say during any of our numerous topics that we'll be saying tonight, man. Chimere, man, Ole, right, stick with him. There's no one else. Are you fully behind your boy?
I mean, you have to stick with him, because I'm not one of like I'm just gonna be honest, because there's a reason why before the season started I said I picked us to go third, because let's just be honest, the team we have, it's not good enough to mount a talent challenge. There's too many flaws in that team. Like what we have is a good team. Like we can beat teams like, we can once in a while we might beat a really good team like City. Most of the time we might win games, but we're not. Our team ain't good enough to the point where we consistently win games week in, week out, all the time. We don't have that kind of team. So as far as like getting a new manager, there's no manager we get now that's gonna help us do better than we're doing now with the squad we have. So there's no point, in my opinion, because the thing people have to understand is like,
you're telling me that Nagelsmann or Allegri with these same sets of players wouldn't do better than Ole?
Nope. Because it's not just getting a manager. You have to look at the team also. Allegri, what is Allegri? Allegri doesn't have a history of doing well with young players. He got 7th with AC Milan. Nagelsmann, yeah, but I mean, you don't know that for a fact, because he's only coached in the Bundesliga. So you don't know for a fact he'll do better at Man U. So you can't, because players have to learn a new system. They have to start learning some new coaching methods. Because as far as I see, the players like Solskjaer, because every time their job is threatened, they perform. That's what I see. I see the players, they play hard for him. Because honestly, who thought Man U was going to be second this season? I don't think anybody thought Man U was going to be second this season, honestly, at all.
No, I didn't.
So I don't think he's doing a bad job, because I don't know what fans want, because this team isn't good enough to win the Champions League or the Premier League. So it's really, what are the expectations? If you want to win the Premier League, then the Glazers have to sign players to win the Premier League. But the squad isn't good enough. So if you're going to get a new coach, then the Glazers, you have to be sure the owners are going to invest in the squad to make it better. But are you sure they're going to do that? That's the thing. So this coach is...
So you're saying that this is more of a case of, it's not about the manager, it's the investment.
Yeah, it's never been about the manager. It's never been about the manager with Man U the past couple of years, except maybe the last Mourinho season. But even then, he didn't get the players he wanted in the summer. So he struggled. Because, it's never been about them. Because you look at it, so sure, I mean, I can't properly assess him until I see him giving all the players he wants. Like, if he got Sancho and got all the players he wanted and he still failed, then I'll say, okay, he's not the guy. But you can't say a manager is trash when he doesn't have the full team he wants and a full list of players he wants. You can't properly assess him that way. Just like Mourinho at Tottenham. It's obvious he didn't get all the players he wanted this year. Part of it is his fault, but you can't, say it's hard to properly assess a manager without him getting all he wants. Because look at Pep. People say Pep is a great manager, but the reason Pep is so successful, anytime he wants a player, they get it for him. Look at Man City. His first season, he finished 3rd. But what did they do? They spent on Kyle Walker, got center backs, got all the players he wanted, and they finished 1st. I don't know I don't know how good Solskjaer is a manager, because he's never had a squad where he got the players he wanted for that summer and got to invest in his own team.
But this is why I asked the question, that based on what you've seen of him and what he's done with what he has, if we created a scenario where he was given his players, he was given the targets and so forth. So let's say he was given all these targets and so forth, every player was filled out. Do you believe that if he was given his players, he would win a trophy with United or mount a serious challenge to Man City based on the managerial quality that you've seen from him so far?
From what I've seen so far, the thing is, from what I've seen, there's a chance. I don't think we'll win, but I think we'll mount a challenge with him. But I think we'll need a better manager if we want to win it.
Sorry, to Chima's point, when you actually look at the actual, if we're talking like this season of title challenge, let's be real. If you look at this season, we've actually not had that much problem. Even though Man United have struggled to create chances, we actually score enough goals. Where's been the issue with Manchester United this season? The big issue a lot of the time has been conceding late goals early on and dropping points. It's been our defense.
Exactly.
What was the difference between City's defense last season was weak? What happened to City? They spent 60 million on Ruben Diaz and they brought John Stones. 2-3 years has been what? Rotting in on the bench or something? So we're saying that John Stones is now a world-class defender? No. They spent 60 million to get yet again another defender who came in, performed really well, formed a good partnership, and that's what they built on. So the idea that it doesn't matter, it's fine, it's okay, it's stuff like that. I don't think that City come close to where they are this season if Ruben Diaz doesn't come into that side. He's been a revelation for the defense. Our defense, brickish, got worse. And as the main reason, not the sole reason, one of the main reasons why Manchester United are certainly not competing with City this season, because if you look at the games that we drop points, it's been because of late conceded goals from set pieces because our defense hasn't been good enough. Sorry, Chima, go on and finish off your point. Sorry.
Because a lot of fans say, a lot of Man U fans say we can't keep the ball. We can't keep the ball. Well, we don't have the defensive midfielders to keep the ball when Pogba's injured. So what do you want Solskjaer to do? Do you want to teach the players how to pass the ball? Because McTominay and Fred, they're good holding players, but they're not players who progress the ball forward. McTominay sometimes, but he's not consistent at that. So it's not. I can't blame Solskjaer for that, because obviously, and when Van der Beek, obviously he didn't want Van der Beek because he's not playing him. Because why would a manager ask for a player that's not going to play?
Okay, so Van der Beek was a board signing.
Yeah, it had to be because he's not playing them. So
Mm.
because no manager is going to ask for a player they're not going to use. It wouldn't make sense. So it's a board signing. So
How many
unless the
signings did Lampard make? How many signings were Lampard signings?
Yeah.
So same thing, isn't it? So anyway, go on, Sean. Seeking option. Go on.
so if, I'm just saying, like, if we're going to get a new manager, this is my thing. I'm fine if of course Allegri is a better manager than Solskjaer. That's obvious. And Nagelsmann is a better manager, but that's only if I know for a fact that they're going to be able to get the players they want. So if they're not going to get the players they want, then what's the point? Because we're going to be right back to square one again.
All right. Henry, talk to me, man. It seems as if everyone has been saying that it is what it is. This is what the situation is. So rather than saying, oh, bringing a better manager and so forth, what's his point in bringing a better manager if they're not going to be supported by the board? So Solskjaer has actually done pretty well with what he's been given. And you can say he's sort of been doing a bit of dud, i.e., all right, Freddie McTominay, I don't have a central midfielder, I don't have a Toni Kroos, I don't have a Verratti, I don't have an accomplished striker, but I'll probably manage to come second to a very good Man City. So do you think, based on this situation, Solskjaer is the right man for this United States situation as of now? Henry? All right. I think Henry's thing isn't really functional well. So Henry, maybe come out, reconnect, and come back in. So guys,
Sorry, HH, can I ask you a quick question?
go for it. Please. Feel free.
Which team in the Premier League has relied consistently on four, usually on average, 3 to 4 academy players as their starting 11?
Well, Liverpool have had a lot of injuries. So
I'm talking last season and this season, 3 or 4. I'm not talking like throwing. I'm talking consistently 3 to 4 academy players this season, aside from Manchester United.
I can't think of one.
So there you go. Rashford, Greenwood, McTominay, Brandon Williams. That's 4. And
McTominay was from the academy.
McTominay's from the academy as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Brandon Williams last season because Luke Shaw's injured out. That's 4 academy players. That's not to mention obviously the others like Twansebe and stuff that throw in. So I bring that point because when we're talking about the whole spending thing, the club structure and stuff like that, like people forget that like a lot of the team is heavily reliant on the academy, the players that come from the Manchester United academy, and you know there has to be at least an element of saying like, right, okay, we can't spend the money. We've got what we have, and we're producing the quality that we have. And you judge likes of Rashford, likes of Bruno, likes of McTominay against the likes of Verratti and all these different sorts of players and stuff, forgetting the fact that these guys are basically haven't cost Manchester United anything, haven't cost them money, but still producing consistent performances for the club. So you got to put that in. You got to pick that perspective, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, because I wanted to move to the next topic, but while we're here, I want to actually stay on this because I want to maybe combine this with the Glazers. So I don't know who did this. I think it might have been Conte or someone where they were like, if you're not going to support me, I'm just going to purposefully mess up. And if a team that are not performing well, I'm going to fold my hands and say, So Conte sort of did that in the last day of in his final season, but I wasn't really too sure whether that was the right thing because for me, you were going to get a severance package afterwards. But putting the Conte to one side, do you think that by United doing well, it's actually going to be worse for United because the Glazers will be like, hey, these academy players are doing pretty well. You guys are doing pretty good. Chelsea have spent, how much have they spent? And they're what? Fifth? You guys, so, because remember, the Glazers are businessmen. Abramovich loves football. The Qatar group, they love football. So because those owners love football, they're like, I want my team to win because I watch these games, I love these games. The Glazers, this is a business enterprise because of just how strong the brand Manchester United is. So all they just see is brand. So because they're looking into it as businessmen, they're like, if you're doing well with us not having to spend, why would I have to spend more if we're getting into the Champions League, we're getting the money from there, the brand hasn't been harmed? Who gives a damn about these fans saying, oh, we deserve more? No. The brand is still strong. It's still supported. We are still relevant. So do you think that in a weird, twisted way, by Solskjaer doing well without having the right proper players, specifically this season because of how much Tottenham invested, how much Chelsea invested, that the Glazers will be like, no, we're not investing because you are fine as is, and we're good, specifically in the pandemic, we can save money. Let me bring in Chimere on that, man. So do you think this could actually be harmful for Ole, specifically with the Glazers saying that, oh, we don't need to spend if you guys are already doing well?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be harmful because that's always been the thing. Because if you look at Man U, like we get complacent sometimes. Like the owners, they say, okay, they're gonna say, so Charles, he got second this year. We got top 4. Yeah, we don't really need anybody because they're gonna be deceived to think we don't really need to buy anybody because we finished second. We won a quote unquote title race. That's the thing that's harming us because only when we start struggling, that's when we spend big. And that's been the issue. Because the thing is, you can't one summer spend money. Next summer, you don't spend anything. It doesn't work that way. Because look at City, like I keep saying. Anytime Pep wants somebody, they give it to him. That's why he's always successful, even in Bayern Munich and Barcelona. Because the manager is only the manager is great, but a manager can only be as successful as the players around him. If you don't give the manager the players they need to make them successful, they're not going to do anything. That's why some managers look like trash. I'm not saying Solskjaer's a great manager, but it gets to a point. It's like you have to give him the players he wants. If that's the guy you picked as the coach, you have to make sure he's successful. So is it about? I don't know if you want to win the league or you just want to get top 4. Because if you want to get top 4, just be honest and tell us that. Don't tell us you're trying to bring Man U back. You want to win the league, but you're deceiving us. You just want top 4. That's what it seems like.
No, but you remember, businessmen lie, so their intention could be like, we don't give a crap about winning trophies, we just want to remain profitable. But you can't say that in public. So you've got to tell the stakeholders and the investors that, hey, we want to bring you back and so forth. We want to take thingy back to keep people on board, because what you don't want to upset the stakeholders. Tell the stakeholders what you want them to hear, but secretly like, no, let's just focus on business here. Balance the books. If we don't have to spend and we're still getting Champions League money and this brand internationally is still relevant, I'm not giving you a freaking dime. Continue using those academy players because it makes good business. Red Devil, where do you stand on this, man?
I mean, yeah, it's as simple as that. Like I like I said, the realism hat on. So it is literally as simple as that. And I keep on saying this over and over again. It's like, people need to realize that
so basically, the better Oli does, the less likely he's gonna get support.
Yeah, because look at the finance. So like I remember I had a conversation about this where like let's take it away from United for a second. Like 18th place, so relegation, for example, in the Premier League gets paid more than I think first or second from the Championship. So relegation from the Premier League is failure, right? Promoting the Championship is success, right? But the actual payoff between the two is massively different. So if you're an owner of one of those bottom teams, like, okay, yeah, you got relegated first, but from a financial point of view, it's like, yeah, you're not going to celebrate the only reason why you celebrate getting promoted from the Championship to Premier League is just the revenue that you are going to get from being in the Premier League, not from the achievement of winning the Championship trophy, despite the fact that relegation is a failure. So why I'm saying that, I'm bringing that point, is that it's just the stark reality of finance. And so, yes, Arsenal fans can say that they got an FA Cup, for example. It's a trophy, great. But the reality is that Arsenal football, they are having recently had to borrow like a loan or government loan or something like that. The amount of money they've consecutively lost from subsequent league positions they've dropped, also from the lack of qualification of Champions League, has been massive. So that's what these people think about. What fans think about, we don't run the club. and obviously a club, you have employees, you have people to spend, etc., etc., etc. So, as I keep on saying, as far as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is concerned, he's the first manager since Fergie to actually obtain back-to-back Champions League top 4 finishes. So, as far as the board is concerned, he's achieved at the very least his minimum objective, because any other coach that has not gone top 4 from a decent position has been sacked. I think Van Gaal was 5th, Mourinho last season, Moyes out of it. So if he does that next season, it'll be the same thing, provided there's not like a player mutiny and all the players turn against him, etc. That's the realism. That's the fact. You're muted.
So yeah, so Sam, thoughts on this specifically with regards to the Glazers?
You say like as successful businessmen, but wouldn't you, as a business, wouldn't you want your team to succeed? Where if Man United won a 21st Premier League title, or if they win 5 European trophies, I think that shows as successful, and you have to invest to be successful.
There are different forms of success. That is sporting success, which comes with financial success, but that's primarily sporting success. Financial because it's a risk and reward. To get that sporting success, you have to invest. You're right. United, with the way this team is built, are not sniffing a Champions League, and with what Bundesliga are looking at, they're not sniffing that. So to get that sporting success, you need to invest. Yeah. But as a businessman, if you can make money and keep in the green without spending anything, because again, the whole point of business is cut costs. There are times when you can't cut costs in order to be, because you always want to be profitable, and there are times when, okay, to be profitable, I have to invest. I just have to, because if I keep on cutting costs, I'm not moving my club forward. And the issue is, United is a global brand, so people in England and so forth, you can debate, you can this and so forth. You go to India, you go to Nigeria, you go to Iran, you go to America. These guys are buying all the merch. They're buying all the merchandise. They are buying all tickets to the tour. So the money's coming in. And these guys are looking at the bigger picture. They're not looking at Manchester. They're not looking at England. They're looking at global.
Yeah.
So the thing is, yes, you want your team to be successful, sporting-wise, but the main success you're looking for is the financial success.
You're correct with that. However, I would also say, how much could we survive from just this lack of spending? Because as top 4 is always the aim for the owners, where if you don't get top 4, you're sacked. So it's just like get top 4 with the occasional FA Cup or League Cup. But with this season, you saw Liverpool fall off with Van Dijk's injury. You had Chelsea's disaster after spending 200 mil. It's like, can you really believe that that's going to happen another season? Where you also got Leicester, who has come emerging with Brendan Rodgers, and you also got whatever you say about Mourinho. Like, if he could just turn this around anyway how he wants.
No.
Whoa! I still wouldn't. No.
Maybe, but it's either that he'll lose it or he might just turn around. So it's like, just to stay in the Champions League, you need to invest. But it's like, if you need to spend they're kind of like we'll spend like 50 million to just stay in the top 4. But if you could spend like an extra 50 more, you could challenge, and then you see where the squad is, and then I think that's where they're not really trying to invest in it.
So Henry, is your mic working there? Tell me your thoughts on the Glazers and their lack of spending. Henry? Okay, yeah. Henry, look, it's not happening. It's not happening. Okay, now
sorry. Can I just make a final point here, Jojo? It's okay. Just to
feel free.
just to as the finance thing, just use a brief example. I actually live in the north. Actually, I know it doesn't come across by my avatar or my voice. So yeah, I'm black. I am. Just in case people weren't aware.
Oh God, yeah, continue.
Oh man, just in case, you know what I mean, guys. In case you didn't know. So yeah, so just use a brief example. So the two teams in the north, are like Newcastle and Sunderland, right? Basically, so Newcastle have one of the worst, arguably probably worse owners than the Glazers in Mike Ashley, he's just hated. He just hated everywhere. That's the reality. They're in the Premiership, and Sunderland are somewhere in Division One somewhere. Everyone hates Mike Ashley, but the reality is that Newcastle are not a debt-ridden club. They make a profit annually. They are a stable club. They used to be competing for the Premier League. They used to be competing for European football. They're now just trying to survive in the league. The reality is that if Newcastle get relegated, and it happened before, because of the state of Newcastle Football Club at Cena, it's run well financially, it makes a profit, it's got a decent fan base. They'll be fine. There's no worry that at some point they'll be promoted back to the Premier League anyway. Sunderland, on the other hand, not that far away from Newcastle, were debt-ridden, multiple owners taking multiple loans. There was no stability and ended up in Division 1, and they don't have as big a fan base as Newcastle. So have Sunderland had recent success? Yes, Sunderland actually have more Division 1/Premier League titles than Newcastle did. But they didn't have that stability. They didn't have that finance. They didn't have that backing. And so I just make that point that, unfortunately, with the nature of football, the nature of management, a stable run football club long term will have far more success than a club that rashly spends or is poorly run and ends up in a subsequent division. But I just make that point to highlight my point about the Glazers.
Okay, so guys, things get real now. Things get slightly real. We're living in a different world. Managers are more prominent, tactics are more prominent, social media and so forth. And this is the world of the agent. Before, you never even knew what these guys were called. You didn't even know what these guys look like. But these agents, they exist. And one certain agent always seems to come up. He always seems to prop up, and he always seems to appear. And that, of course, is your boy Mino Raiola. And this is pretty much a Raiola Pogba hybrid. But I think I want us to focus on the Raiola parts of it. So obviously, he's come out again and he has said that he feels that he can get the best out of his players, and he can put his players in a much better position as opposed to what has been given to them. So he's always come out and pretty much, let's just say, talked down to United and so forth. So I want to bring up these things. I think it's good for us if we can reference this. So this is what I think he said via The Athletic. So there you go. So you guys can see that. So to read this out, Mino Raiola to The Athletic. I don't give a F if I never do another play with Man United. I'm not in their hands. I'm independent. Guardiola closed the book a long time ago. Everybody knows what I think of him personally. He can say what he thinks of me personally.
No one talks about that.
So Pogba has fantastic appeal worldwide. I heard from Man United that he's appreciated, also from Solskjaer's side. Today, if somebody asked me, can you find a club for Paul? I could take my nephew of 5 years and find a club for Paul at a high level. I believe there should be an ER after that word high, and I think he probably means at a higher level. So Raiola is coming out with all the smoke. He's coming out with all the smoke here. So coming into Red Devil now, your take on Raiola and just the back and this is the best way to frame it. Do you blame Raiola for the Pogba situation, the Pogba indecision? Do you think Raiola is the main culprit of unsettling Pogba? And by him putting this stuff out in the media and so forth, do you think that has somehow caused a bit of upheaval within the dressing room and so forth? Or do you just think that he's a freaking agent? Let him spat and talk. It doesn't really matter. How much effect do you think is what has... Actually, before you go, let me just get these dubs before you go. Let me just get these dubs real quick. So from Abdul, thank you for the dub. Thank you, Abdul, who says, Ole plays dreadful football and is very stubborn. But Abdul, as we said, man, how good are the players? Maybe another team would play better football with these players, but will he make them as effective? The fact of the matter is that with a team that I don't think is as good as Tottenham squad or Chelsea squad, he has them second. So yes, the football may be dreadful and not so great, but results are results. So it is what it is. And from Yasser's side, who says, we are basically Arsenal with a head start, to be honest. As of right now, I think Arsenal are in a much worse situation than you guys, because at the end of the day, the table doesn't... Oh, the table can lie, but most of the time, the table doesn't lie. You're second. You're second. So yes, you can talk about the whole money issue, investment issue and everything, but when you look at United's squad, their team, their players, they have a better squad than Arsenal, and they're second. United are second, so it is what it is. So, Red Devil, talk to me, man. So do you blame Raiola for all this upheaval with Pogba?
I don't give a damn what Raiola says, to be honest. So I don't care what this... I mean, and the funny thing is, in those tweets, like, no one actually mentions the fact that, like, I mean, because Guardiola's doing well, like, the fact that he says, like, I have an opinion on Guardiola, we don't speak, etc. Guardiola doesn't deal with Raiola. He's rated one of the best managers in the world. So what does that tell you? You know, no one comments on the relationship with Guardiola and Raiola. Why is that? Is that because they have a positive, family-friendly relationship? Or is that because they have a very strained, negative one? And obviously, Zlatan Ibrahimovic was Raiola's agent, was involved with Barcelona, etc. So there's clear bad vibes coming from him. I get, from his perspective, he wants to do the best thing for his clients, and obviously himself, because he gets quite a big fee from the sales that he makes, which is why I'm somewhat worried about Erling Haaland and how he's going about doing things, because he's Raiola's agent. So, you know, the general pattern of Raiola's agents is that, right, find club every 2, maybe 3, usually 3 seasons to get a bigger payoff. That's kind of been his spiel. As far as his comments at Manchester United, again, isn't because the thing with Pogba is that he's never said anything directly, really, outright or vocally. And to be honest, you've never really seen that on the field. Usually when I see a player that's unsettled, like I remember, I think Van Dijk, when he went from Southampton to Liverpool, the guy just I think he protested. Like he refused to play basically until he got his Liverpool move. People forget that. Like we talk about Pogba and and stuff like that. Like it's not like Pogba is refusing to play for Manchester United. It's not like Pogba is not balling for Manchester United. He's arguably been our best player since January. That's not a player that is acting in a way. I'm not saying he might necessarily want to leave, but he's certainly not acting in a way that he's unresting or he's imbalancing the team, etc. That's not the vibe I get from seeing his football, unlike other players that have literally refused to play for their respective team or what have you. So that's not what Pogba's doing. So as far as Raiola is concerned, I think a part of it might just be the fact that I don't think that he can get a move for Pogba this summer, because I don't know which clubs right now have the finances or space to be able to spend or offer what Pogba offers. So I suspect that if they don't, that either Pogba will sign a new contract at United or he'll basically leave for free next summer. That's what I suspect will happen. And he's just frustrated about that because he's not going to get his payoff. And we're not dealing with him. And I think fundamentally, what will hurt Raiola in the long term is that if you're now getting these big top clubs that are now refusing to deal with you, it will hurt his pocket, and it will also hurt the player's portfolio in the long run. That's why this, he can say what he wants, but at the end of the day, if you're going to burn bridges at Madrid, at Bayern, at City, at all these players, and they refuse to deal with you and your clients, then how much more success can you get in the long term, really? At some point, you're going to have to be humble and be like, okay, I've got to take the L and try and get a better deal. Otherwise, you know, Haaland isn't going to end up in Real Madrid or United or whatever. He's going to end up like playing for, you know, someone like Chelsea, for example, because Roman doesn't care. So you know what I mean?
Okay. Sean, thoughts on Raiola with Pogba?
Raiola's a prick. Let's be real, he's a prick.
Harsh.
He's like, let's see, every manager who deals with him probably really hates him, but he's a player's dream. Like, you see how Ibra and Pogba talk about, they love the guy because like what he's done for them. In terms with Pogba, like, I don't think Pogba, in terms with the Man United dressing room, it really hasn't affected him because they all still love him. They probably know like, oh, he's probably gonna leave, but they still like love the guy, like in terms like they still get along with him. But the problem I have with Raiola is like it was probably our biggest game of the season, and it was what, like the day before against RB Leipzig in the Champions League, where he said that statement of Pogba's what finished at United, he's definitely going to leave. That's something where I have a problem with Pogba because like there's times when he could say, "Oh," or just tell Raiola just to tone it down, but he doesn't. Also, like sometimes when you see his brothers on, like they talk about, "Oh, Pogba's going to leave to go to Real Madrid," or something like that, and I feel it's like,
So you think that it should be Pogba's responsibility to ensure his agents and his brothers don't tweet or say any of these things?
I think it's more sort of like the disrespect that Raiola puts onto the club, the way how he talks to, like I believe like he was one before he said something about the manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, where I just say it's like he knows what he's doing, knowing that it's going to negatively affect the team. And I feel it's like maybe not even like just tell him just to stop saying anything, maybe just like tone down with the whole thing, like we're doing interviews, saying all this sort of stuff. But with Pogba, like Pogba's not the type of guy to down tools on Oli because we've seen that no
He's
matter
played
what.
well. He's played well.
Yeah, he played well, especially in the Leipzig game. He came on. Was it he created both of the? I think he created both of the goals and scoring one with the header. I think I remember. So it's like Pogba is like he's a professional with it. Like he knows like with all this stuff, he gets along with his job. But I feel it's like maybe you could just tell him just to tone it down a bit.
Okay. Chimera man, Raiola.
Well, as far as Raiola, as a fan of Man U, of course I don't like it because I mean he doesn't talk well about the club. He disrespects the club openly. You know, that's not a good look for us as a club. You know, for an agent to be disrespecting us openly, to be honest, like it's not a good look. You know, and but as a neutral, you know, I have to look at it from an objective point of view. I mean, at the end of the day, he doesn't care about Man U, Raiola. He could care less if we win or lose. He just wants to get Pogba what he feels is in the best situation for him. So from that point of view, yeah. But I mean, we all know that as a person, you know, we know how he is, you know. That's why a lot of managers are around the world. They don't really like him. They don't like their players doing business with him because he causes a lot of, you know, headache and whatnot. Because I mean, he shouldn't have said that right before the biggest game. Because to be honest, Pogba was supposed to start that game. To be honest, but I think that controversy made Solskjaer bench him and settle the team a little bit. But as far as Pogba, you know, he might be unhappy, but I don't think he's unhappy to the point where it's like, man, I'm desperate to get out of here. Because when he's played well. You know, honestly, he's played well under Solskjaer since Solskjaer was a manager. He's played well. You know, I think he's played better under Solskjaer than Marino for sure. He's played really well under Solskjaer. So, like Red Devil was saying, he doesn't look to me as the kind of guy who's like, I really want to leave here. You know, I'm not happy here. Because usually when you see a player who's desperate to leave, you see a decline in their game. You know, yeah, you see flashes, but you won't see them, you know, put in what they usually do consistently.
So you still believe that Pogba wants to commit his future to Man United?
I think he's 50-50. I think for sure, like if Real Madrid or if Real Madrid comes from, of course he's gonna want to go because Real Madrid is Real Madrid, you know. But if he can't go to a team like bigger than Man U, maybe he might go back to Juventus. But honestly, I don't see the difference. I don't see that's not gonna to me. Man U's the best situation than Juventus for him if I was him. But
Also, you don't know whether he'd go to. I think maybe if Sarri or Allegri was there, but as a player looking at circumstances, like is he going to go? When you look at Juventus now, is he going to go where okay, Pirlo's manager? There seems to be, I don't think Juventus. I'd argue in a better state per se than Manchester United are right now in terms of, you can't. You're
for
losing
sure.
in the league to AC Milan and Inter Milan, etc., and you're bottling against teams like who was it, Portugal in the Champions League. So it's not going back to a peak Juventus side. It's going back to a Juventus side that's aging, that needs redevelopment. So if you're Pogba, you're thinking, I'm effectively going. If I'm going to go to Juventus, I'm potentially going back to having to do another rebuild with the Juventus side. So really, my options are Real Madrid, and then possibly a PSG. And they obviously have to pay up and afford and do they actually want them. If I can't get those deals now, I might see my options in the following year and go for a free, or I start a new contract with United because on this point, one of the big things that people always forget is player wages. Like at the end of the day, it's very rare for a player to say, you know what, I'm going to leave if they're still in the contract, and I'm going to take my wage cut in half. Pogba right now is on something close to near 300k a week. I don't know how many. Juve, I don't think I can afford that right now. Real Madrid possibly. PSG, would they take on another 300k player? Maybe. So
PSG got other targets though.
And they've got other targets.
But actually, let me ask this though. So I'll come to Chimera with this. We just discussed previously as to how the Glazers don't want to invest. They're happy with the club just sort of qualifying for the CL and so forth. I don't really want to take it to the next level by spending the money on those big time players. So if you're Pogba, you're 28 years old, you're a World Cup winner, you're going in to try to win the Euros this summer. If you look at the lay of the land and there isn't a United project that shows a willingness to really invest to close the gap on Man City and to make some noise in Europe, what is the argument for him staying? Do you still think that his love for Man United is stronger than his love to actually be a successful individual and to add a Champions League medal to his World Cup medal? Chimera.
Well, to me, he has nothing to prove to me because I think he's won a World Cup already. Maybe the Champions League, but he's already won the Liga. Because he's already proven he's a top-class midfielder. Because whenever he's playing...
Chimera, let's keep it a stack. I use this example of Henry. So the season before Henry went to Barcelona, he had won the Euros, he had won the World Cup, and he had won, I think, 2 Premier League titles. So Henry was like, no, I wouldn't complete the whole set. Don't ever underestimate the lost that the professional modern footballer has, specifically the elite one, to be fully decorated. So Henry, nobody loves Arsenal more than Henry. But he was like, but I have to go to Barcelona because they have a situation which is more likely to get me this Champions League than Arsenal. And the World Cup is the highest honor you can earn in international football. The Champions League is the highest honor you can earn in club football. Players dream of winning 2 trophies, the World Cup and the Champions League. So again, I just still feel that don't underestimate Pogba's willingness to go for that CL, man.
Yeah, but like the thing is, like, there's not many for me, in my opinion, for him to get one because he also remember his agent and them said that he also wants to be part of a team where he can be the focal point of the team. So for him to get what he wants, trophies and be the focal points, there's not many because around Madrid it's not going to be built around him if he goes there. Juventus, I don't think it's a better situation than Man U. And really, what other clubs realistically want him? Is he going to leave Man U to go to AC Milan or Inter Milan? Is he going to win a Champions League there? Man U's still a bigger club than both of those teams. Maybe AC Milan is debatable, but I still think Man U's bigger. But You know, so it gets to a point. Like I feel like only if Real Madrid comes calling, then he should go. But other than that, you're the star midfielder at Man U next to Bruno. You play well every time, most times when you're playing. So why would you leave unless you're for sure that the team you're going to you're gonna win the Champions League like Real Madrid or Barcelona or Bayern Munich, teams like that. You know,
Okay. Sean, what do we stand at this, Sean?
I would say like as what everyone else said, like I feel like Real Madrid is basically the only real option for him if he wants to move forward because I just see PSG as I mean Juve as more of a backward step for him, where you're
What
seeing
about
what they're
PSG?
doing right now.
What about Barca
PSG,
or PSG?
Barcelona are messed up financially, so I don't know how they're gonna afford him with the wages when they're
Well,
paying
they said
like
that they
what
can afford
3.8 or
Haaland, so
2K.
okay.
Well, we'll have to see that. I'm not sure. I feel like they're struggling on wages, and they'll probably have to like get rid of a few people to like at least try and manage because aren't they like $1 billion in debt? So I think with PSG is kind of hard because as well as he did say that he wants to be what the main focal point, and I don't think you'll be that with Neymar or Mbappe. As I said before, I think it will be Real Madrid, but I believe that Real Madrid would probably prioritize maybe Mbappe or Haaland before a Pogba, even though like Zidane is a big fan of him. I would love, and he does want him, but I don't think it will be possible.
All right. Red Devil man, your boy Labil man.
What specifically about Labille did you as in
Do you,
like
so I believe that he wants that Champions League. Do you still see him, despite whatever, committing to Man United if the Glazers don't properly invest in this team that can pretty much do something in Europe? Do you still think that his love for United and his loyalty will outweigh his willingness to be part of a team that can realistically win a Champions League?
the key is that like I mean fundamentally winning even the Champions League and stuff is rare anyway. I mean like you know Pep City for like Aguero's just left Manchester City. He was part of a team that realistically was competing in the Champions League. Did he win one? Did he leave one? No, he did not. You know, he didn't reach it. Okay, reach one Champions League semi-final under Pellegrini, but still, the point remains is that like you can still be in that team and not, and arguably City have been closer to winning than United or some of the other teams in Europe. And so I bring it up because when we look at Pogba is what 27, 28, and we look at the
28.
team 28 that could realistically want him in terms of right now that want to pay for him or even get him on a free. I don't know that many right now that are right on the process of realistically competing. Possibly Real Madrid. I think Juventus right now are far from competing for a CL, so I don't think Juventus are in the question. PSG, yes, but do PSG, do PSG want to get Pogba? Is that what PSG want right now? I mean, it certainly would be a place given his French to go back to, but I'm not getting the impression that PSG is saying that we definitely want to sign Paul Pogba or get him on a free. I just don't get that vibe when maybe there are other players that are younger and that are also have far less. I repeat this again: wage demand. It's not going to demand that much. So, as bad as it sounds, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point Paul Pogba does sign a new contract. I'm not saying that he will, but he will probably sign a new contract. If he does, he will sign a new contract on higher wage from the club because, and this might be why Raiola is ranting this way, because his options realistically are limited. And yes, the Champions League pull is there, but how many of those teams are coming out and how many of those teams themselves are realistically in a strong position to be competing for it? Because I don't think Bayern are definitely not interested in him. Barcelona are broke. Liverpool, no way. So it's really just Madrid or PSG really. And I don't think any of those teams really right now have the financial backing to support his wages. And they have other players, other targets that are younger that could work. So yeah, that's it.
All right, which we shall see what your boy Labil does, man. So let's lighten the mood a bit, man.
Chelsea being CL favourites. Is that like?
Relax,
But
chill.
I bet.
Bruno Fernandes, man. Look, this is very much a case of effectiveness versus the eye test. When you watch Bruno Fernandes, he isn't the easiest on the eye to watch. Okay, it's not as if you're watching a Ronaldinho or a Quaresma or so forth. But one thing I've got to admit is he has been one of the most effective players in the shortest space of time that I've seen in a while. His impact has been rapid, it's been huge, and the value he's brought to United has been huge. So I think specifically where I want to pretty much go with this is, do you think that it is because when you saw Van Persie, it was Van Persie, Rooney. When you had Cristiano, Rooney, Scholes, you had what's called Bex, Giggs, York, Cole. There was a crew. This very much seems, and we'll get to Martial and deal with him and trying to figure out what the hell has happened with Martial. But do you think it's a case of this team is far too reliant on Bruno Fernandes and far too reliant on a player who he might be effective, but he ain't what Cristiano was at United, where you could very much lean on to Cristiano and he will deliver for you in every game, pretty much back then under Fergie. So what do you make on Bruno's impact, what he's done for the club, and do you think that there is an issue that Bruno has had to do so much work and has had to provide so much in terms of goals and assists for the team, and he's not really been helped by other players around him? Chimera.
That's what I want to say about Bruno. Like, I don't get why Bruno gets so much hate from people.
Because he ain't that good, man. Come on.
Yeah, but I mean, if he's not that good, then I want all my players to not be that good. Because since he's came into the league, he's contributed to the most, goal contribution in the Premier League since he came into the league. And that's the league that the same people who shout is the best league in the world. Now that Bruno's doing it, they don't give him credit for doing it. And the best league in the world. So I don't get that. Since he came, the thing is, Bruno improved our team. Because before he came there, we were struggling bad. Like, we were struggling bad. I didn't even think we were going to get top 4 until Bruno came into the team. You saw he lifted the whole team. Like, I don't get how people don't rate him. They say he's a penalty merchant. He's this. He's that. But like if you watch most of his games, like he's the only one on our team that tries to play a killer through ball, that tries to play a killer pass, that tries to do something.
No, but my thing, Jimmy, is that is he the kind of player? Because again, you can lean onto a Messi, and that's cool. You can lean onto a Neymar. Don't you think that it is problematic that as effective as Bruno is, the team being so reliant on him when he isn't Messi or Neymar is problematic? Because there's only so much a player of his ability can do, because he can't do what Messi does. He can't do what Neymar does.
Oh yeah, of course not. Because you look at the way the team is constructed. Really, other than him, when Pogba is injured, because Pogba's been injured for a lot of the season. When Pogba is injured, who else other than Bruno on that Man U team can play a killer pass?
Not McTominay. No, sorry, no.
So if Bruno is, let's say, and a team goes to the game and says we're gonna shut Bruno down. There's no Pogba. Who's gonna create chances for the team? See, that's what we keep. That's why
I'm Luke Shaw right now, but that's the only article I would say. Second best Luke Shaw. But yeah, go on, Chi.
That's why we Man U fans, we keep saying the team hasn't been invested in properly. Because now, if we had gotten Jadon Sancho, now you have another player who's creative next to Bruno. Now you can't take Bruno out the game. Now even if Pogba's injured, we still have creativity. But you have Daniel James and Greenwood. Greenwood's not even a winger, but he's playing on the wing because we have no right winger. Daniel James is the other alternative. So you look at the team, it's like you said, there's only so much one person can do. And he's not Messi, like you said. He's not Cristiano. Nobody. I I never said Bruno was the best midfielder in the world. He's a very good midfielder. I think he's one of the best cams in the world for sure. But I mean, as far as the team, like there's only so much one person can do. You can't do everything. You need players to help you. And especially when you don't have. Look at the other teams. Look at Man City. De Bruyne, De Bruyne is great, but look at what they have. They have Bernardo Silva can play a killer pass. Gundogan can play a killer pass. Even Fernandinho can play. Even Rodri, he can play a killer pass too. They have multiple players who can do the same thing. Man, you don't have that. That's the thing. You can have a great player, but you got to have other players to help him out. That's my thing. We need to go. We definitely need this summer. We have to go get a creative player for sure. That's one of our main things we need to go for.
Sean, talk to me, man. Bruno and the reliance that United have on Mr. Bruno Fernandes.
I think Bruno is he's had one of the biggest impacts from what I've seen from a football player. And I feel like, as well, on the pitch, from like the goals and assists that he contributes, he's also installed a mentality where it just makes you feel different about Manchester United compared to pre-Bruno and then post-Bruno. From before we signed him, we lost to Burnley at home and then to Liverpool, and we thought Ollie was going to lose his job. But then when we saw from Bruno, we saw the impact that he made. From the over-reliance on him, I feel it's like, yeah, we rely on him too much, but it's like, who are you going to get to also create your chances? Like, you have Pogba, but then there's also many times when Pogba was injured. And then when Pogba was injured, you have to rely on Fred and McTominay, who aren't really creative midfielders. They're more box-to-box, more passion merchants, as you would say. And
actually, no, come on. Throw some love on McTominay, man. McTominay's eye, but continue.
Yeah, I like McTominay. Like, he offers much more than...
I didn't say anything. No, I didn't say anything. Continue.
Like, McTominay offers something, but it's not enough. And then when you have someone like a Daniel James, like, he has his uses, but he's not a player where you say, can you break down this low block defense? Same thing with like a Rashford. He's more of a shoot first player, same as Greenwood and Martial. And I feel it's like, even with a Sancho plus with a Pogba, I think you'll see him maybe the load a bit less, but then you'll see a much more fluid team where it's not just one player. It's like there's much more.
Okay. Red Devil, man, talk to me, man. Bruno, I know you love Bruno. You're one of Bruno's biggest fans, but he's made a huge, amazing impact. But don't you see an issue with how reliant they are on a player who is good? I know he is decent, he's good, he's very effective, but there's only so much he can do. Because again, this isn't Man United Cristiano. This isn't Van Persie for that one season. This isn't like Andy Cole. This is a good player, but he isn't as much of a one-man wrecking ball as Cole was, as Cristiano was, as Van Persie was, or as Van Nistelrooy was. So do you see an issue with how much Bruno has had to provide for you United, or do you think that if Bruno has the capability to carry this team the way that Cristiano, Van Nistelrooy, and all those other guys did?
I mean, even some of those players you mentioned, to be fair, also had a lot of solid good players around. You had like Scholes, you had the likes of Giggs, you had Roy Keane, you had Everett, you had Wayne Rooney to be best scoring goal, like proper peak Wayne Rooney, etc. So it's not like those players were in and of themselves. If they were the only players of skill and quality carrying Manchester United, and of course you have a tactical genius in Sir Alex Ferguson as well, combined, you get that sort of result. So in the case of Bruno, you don't have that situation. You don't have one of the best managers in world football. You don't have necessarily the quality around you. I mean, strictly from a Glazers standpoint, to be honest, like as I tell people all the time, I don't get the hate because fundamentally this player only cost Manchester United 40 million. What reason do I have to complain? This is a 40 million player doing what he's doing. Chelsea spent 100 million on Havertz.
Relax. Come on.
I
This is a
tell you.
United show. It's a United show. Come on.
United show, but like 100 million, and what has the guy done? He doesn't get any slack, hate, or anything like that. Shows like he's the best. I was told he was going to be we know this. German Zidane. We know this. That was what I was told going into this season. 100 million German Zidane. And right now, I'm not saying he's crap, but I mean, he's at least a level above Dele Alli.
Okay, you stole Bruno from someone. Daylight robbery. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so we got to steal. I could go on around about Thiago as well, but it is what it is. The point is that for that amount of money given his delivery, there should be no embarrassment on that. It's one of the best signings at Manchester, and for the amount that we've actually invested in the player compared to to be honest, some of our other banal signings that we made in the last 8 or so years. So his contribution to Manchester United coming in is second to none. You're right. Can he do it on himself? Of course he can't. Just like any other player, when you mark that player out of the game, you have a lack of creative players, as we've seen. So I think when Pogba plays with Bruno, you get a better Manchester United side in general, although I still think we need more creative players, especially on the wing. So for me, long term, it always comes back around to investment. So if we get in a Sancho, we get good wingers, if we get potentially another creative midfielder or a ball playing DM or whatever that can really help and balance the midfield and the team, then Bruno will be fine. He'll ball, it'll be great. But if it's now just promote academy players, deal with what you have, Oli, etc., then you're right. He will struggle. And to be honest, I'm very surprised that he's actually managed. I don't think he's had an injury since he came to Manchester United. As far as I'm aware, he's not been out.
So imagine if he had an injury.
Exactly. And Pogba maybe might have an injury. Then you're absolutely screwed. So it's fundamentally it's on the Manchester United board if they give a damn to actually share the load with the other players. So much like Manchester City, De Bruyne has been out for half of the season. Did City miss him? No, they did not, because they had other players in the midfield, on the wing, to contribute, to come in and do the job. That's the difference ultimately.
Last thing before we end on Bruno, what is Bruno's ceiling? And please, I want you to be honest here. Not fanboys. What do you guys think the ceiling of Bruno is? How good do you think he can be? What do you think his maximum is? Chimera.
His maximum? At his maximum, he can be the best cam in the world. At his maximum.
What? So
he can be the best cam in the world.
Easy, Chimera. Just relax. Are you telling me that this guy will be on the podium to receive a Ballon d'Or?
No. Just on the level of De Bruyne. That's his maximum, or better, even better, to be honest.
Okay, so you consider De Bruyne the best cam in the world?
Yeah.
And you believe that? But then, if you're saying that he can be the best cam in the world, that means there is a potential he can be on the Ballon d'Or shortlist. Yeah. Top 3 or top 4. That's what you believe. He can be top 4. So you think he can be make top 5 Ballon d'Or shortlist?
I don't know, because there's always going to be players like Mbappe and Neymar, Haaland, Lewandowski. They're going to pump up stats. So
did you just say Hazard?
So what are you saying? Jamar, what are you saying? What are you saying? Yeah, continue, Jamar. Continue.
I think he'll be listed. Even this year, I think he'll be listed. But I don't think he's going to be top 5. No. But I think he'll be because De Bruyne has ever been top 5 for short list Ballon d'Or? So I don't think so. So I'm just saying he can be the best number cam in the world. Because De Bruyne, I think most people would say De Bruyne is number 1. But I think at his best, he can take that spot from him.
Sean, ceiling.
Similar to what everyone said, I think he could be the best number 10 in the world. Not in terms of a Ballon d'Or winner, but I think he could be maybe in those team of the years or something like that. But also has to contribute with with his stats, he's always going to be up there, but it also means with your team performances, such as in the league and also internationally.
Red Devil, please be realistic.
Well, I mean, he's approaching 27 now, so he's approaching his prime right now. So he's going to go a couple of years. So, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is just based on consistency, and that's the key. I mean, it depends on how you rate, because some people say, "Oh, you have one amazing, really good season, and that's it. You're now a Ballon d'Or candidate. That's it. That's fine. Easy dub, whatever. Sit in your terms of ceiling." But I've always, in my opinion, it's always about consistency at the highest level than necessarily one amazing good season. So we're talking in terms of consistency. Then yes, I think that Bruno Fernandes can consistently deliver the numbers, deliver the performances at the highest level and potentially higher if he has additional support.
Will he be on the Ballon d'Or stage? Yes or no? Does his ceiling include potentially being on that Ballon d'Or stage?
Yeah, especially if we include Portugal being, because obviously we include international and stuff like that as well. So if, let's say, next season United get the backing support, you have a situation where Portugal, for example, win the Euros, although I think that might favour Ronaldo more than Bruno Fernandes, which I know you would like. Actually, FYI, would you prefer Bruno or Ronaldo to get the Ballon d'Or, HH?
Bruno.
Okay. That you hate him that much, right?
I don't. Oh, come on, no, don't do that. I don't hate anyone. I don't hate him. You asked me a question. You didn't say who do I hate, but you said I said Bruno.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
Because Cristiano has too many. Give Bruno his first one. Why not?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So yeah, like if that scenario plays out where you have that with the Euros, and then you go on to a season where he's won the Euros in the summer, he goes on to have a really good season next season, then yeah, compete doing whatever in the Champions League, maybe potentially compete for the Premier League if they're backed. Then yeah, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be on the Ballon d'Or thing, given all things considered for club and country.
So before we move on to our next topic, let's get this dub. So from King Mbani, thank you for the dub, King Mbani, who says, "I'm not a Man U fan, but I see big world-class potential in Anthony Martial." King, it's funny you say that because that's going to be our next topic. It's going to be our next topic. And King Mbani again says that BF's style won't shine. Sorry, Bruno Fernandes' style won't shine when paired with other stars. And I suppose this is because he has maybe been suffering just a little tiny weeny bits for Portugal. Because I think when we see Bruno for Portugal, we don't really see him being as effective or as good as opposed to when he's at Man United. I just think that the Man United environment suits him far better than the Portuguese environment. I think Bruno, I don't want to call him a system merchant, but I do feel like if he is a guy where if you put him in the right kind of system, that's where he can truly flourish.
Is that because at Portugal, the system is catered towards a certain somebody?
And Portugal don't play him.
But
shout out to Lithuania and Luxembourg. Shout out to Lithuania and Luxembourg. I think it's time for us to talk Martial. Let me start by saying this. When I first saw this guy at Monaco, I was like, this guy's a quality player. This guy's an amazing player. And Martial, because this is a very, very interesting football conundrum because we are dealing with a player who is good. We're dealing with a player who is very, very talented. But he's out of form. You see, when a guy like Neong or Timo Werner are out of form, that's it. Nothing more needs to be done. You call Saberi, you call the Polo Bears, and you open up a wing. But when an Anthony Martial is out of form, it's a bit trickier because you're like, I know what this guy can do. I know what this guy has done, and you know what he's capable of. So, again, I want to get your thoughts on what you think is wrong, but I feel this is psychological and this is mental. Because a guy who is essentially a brick, you can't help him. You can't help him. But somebody who you know he's good, it's mental. It's about, okay, are you working hard enough in training? Have you evolved your game? Have you improved your game? Because the key thing about football is you must always, always improve. There is no point where you stay the same. Zidane, when he came out of retirement to play for France in the 2006 World Cup, was a better player. And he felt that he would have little things he improved on his game. And I think especially when you're playing high level football, just little things, the right run, the right dribble, the right movements, thinking a bit quicker, reacting a bit quicker. All these little things are what takes your game to the next level. Because if you stand still and you keep doing what you've been doing for the last 3 years, you could get messed because defenders are getting better, tactics are getting smarter, and specifically in the world we are living in, a manager has the MO on every single opposing player. So they know your strengths, they know your weaknesses, because leading up to that game, they have this massive data sheet of like, Martial does this. He makes these runs. He likes to receive the ball here. This is how he shoots. These are his strengths. This is the way that he likes to go into the channel. And they give all that data to the defenders, and then they say, what's up? So, Red Devil, what do you think the issue is with Martial?
Sorry, bro. Can you come back to me in like 5 minutes? That's okay.
All right, Chumera, what do you think the issue is?
The issue is with Martial. He's just an inconsistent player. Some seasons he's gonna look like, because last year he scored 18 goals in the Premier League. So I mean, and even his first year, like remember the first season he took the Premier League by storm. So he has the ability to score goals. He's just an up and down player. He's gonna have the down seasons. He's gonna have good seasons because he's not a consistent finisher. That's the one thing. And when you have a player that's not a consistent finisher, he's not gonna score. He's not gonna score 20 plus goals every season. He's gonna have some games, some seasons where he scores 18, some seasons where he scores 5. Because let's be honest, even Benzema had a season where he scored 5 for Real Madrid. So it's nothing new. He's just going through a down patch right now. But I think next season he'll start playing better.
But okay, wait, sorry, I'm coming. I just had to just change cameras now. So, sorry. So, why do you believe that he's gonna then improve moving forth?
Yeah, for sure. Because like I said,
how are you sure? How are you sure that this isn't a dip in form? That he needs some kind of interference?
No, because this is what he does. Because if you look at Martial's career at Man U, for one season he'll bang in goals. Next season he dips. The next season bangs in. Next season dips. Next season scores. Next season dips. That's how he is. Because I'm saying, let's be honest. I'm not taking a shot at Benzema, but even Benzema, his numbers were inconsistent at Real Madrid. So I don't even see much of a difference between him and Martial's numbers, to be honest, as far as league goals. So I'm just saying, Martial his league goals always dwindle because he's not a consistent finisher. He doesn't finish consistently. That's why you see one season he'll score 18, next season he'll score 4 or 5. That's just the kind of player he is. And I've accepted it. So that's what I come to expect.
So you believe that next season he doesn't need to change anything. He'll just snap back and start becoming good.
Oh yeah, he'll be fine.
Sean, do you agree with that? Do you feel that Martial doesn't need any intervention? She'll just come back next season saying what's up.
With Martial it's kind of confusing where we all know that he has the talent. There's a reason why Man United spend so much on him as a teenager, including a Ballon d'Or clause. But I think it's more so of a mentality thing, more so where...
Wait, what is the Ballon d'Or clause?
It's what is it? We pay 36 million, but if he wins the Ballon d'Or, it goes up to 54 million, I think.
Okay.
Something like that. So it's we know that there's a talent there, but we saw in his first season with LVG, he was our top goal scorer, and that's why he was playing as the number 9. And then when Jose came in, we saw he brought on Zlatan. He took away his number 9 shirt, and then we saw how he just got shifted up to the left, where you could say and we knew that there was times when Jose wanted to get rid of him for Perisic, so there was a really not a good relationship there. But then we saw with Oli where he's more so of Oli's more of a arm around, he's you're a friend or something, a best friend for him, and it's putting more trust into him, where you'll see, and you saw that last season where he scored 23 goals in all competitions. I think it's more so. I'm not sure about this season. Maybe it's because of COVID, where everyone's just it's a freak season. Maybe you'll see something different because he pretty much didn't have as much as Man United. He didn't have a pre-season where he had much rest. So maybe it could also be maybe the introduction of Cavani, where he's feeling the pressure of like, oh, this like Martial wasn't doing well, and then we saw Cavani come and offer something completely different. Where Solskjaer has always talked about that he wants his strikers to be more in the box, more. You're going to break your nose to score a goal, where you're going to be in the box to do that sort of thing. Where he isn't that type of striker. That's where the Haaland links come in, and I think it's more so like maybe is it that maybe if he could try and change his way, but I think it's like I'm not sure.
So let me ask. So, do you feel that next season he doesn't need to change anything? That he's going to be back on form? Because as Chimere says, that he's just showing a dip in form, but next season he'll be back to his best.
I'm not entirely sure. I feel it's like he's 25 now, and it's like we should be seeing your coming up to seeing your best right now, and it's not about potential anymore. And we spent big money on you, and we need to see you like turn up in the big moments where this season he hasn't really done that so much.
I mean, 25 is still pretty young, though. It is still pretty young because I used to 28, 29, and now look what Benzema's doing. He's like in his 30s now. So let me bring in your boy.
Wait, can I also say one thing?
Go for it.
Like, I think where we'll also say like we'll probably compare him to like someone like a Marcus Rashford, where probably similar ages, but Rashford's a year younger. But we've seen Rashford progress more compared to a Martial who has regressed. So it's like, is it more so like maybe something on the training pitch, or maybe it's a mentality or something like that? Probably.
Okay. Because as I said again, I think it's a mentality thing, and I'm not sure I share Chimere's sentiment that it's going to be like a Benzema where he'll just come next season and say what's up. I think I see particularly something is wrong here. So Red Devil, where are you at with this? Is this a case of deep in form, he'll be back next year, or no? There needs to be somewhat of an intervention either by Martial himself or by a coach.
Well, I just need to make a point because I think with a lot of these things we need to obviously give more time, and I had to sort of just think about some guy that I watched that sort of explained it better than I would about another player.
What is going to be a force to be reckoned with next season? Because I don't care what you want to say, can say Werner has not been this, been that. He regarded as one of the best young finishers in the world. Those are facts. And Chelsea were able to acquire one of the best finishers in the world. Don't mess with Chelsea when it comes to transfers.
Yeah.
Don't mess with it. So
Bram,
he always has this thing. I know this is about Werner, but let me just talk about Bram. Just for a second. Let me just talk about Bram. Don't get it twisted. Bram always has something cooking up. I told you, he built this Chelsea team. Chelsea, no matter anything, hate the player, hate the game. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Football has changed, and Bram is playing by the rules of modern day football. If you want to be purist, if you want to be cool, remain in the Europa. Remain mid-table. Remain in the relegation. We're going for the treble. We're going for dominance of Europe. We are going for dominance of the next.
So,
can I respond?
The point that I just want to end with the treble thing. The point I want to make about that is that, you know, we've got to give players time sometimes. They go for form, go for thing. And just like you did in that 10-minute informative video of...
was actually like 3 minutes, actually. But
yeah, well, it was still 10 minutes, actually. I had to clip a few things. So when it comes to like Martial, at least Martial obviously has given some to Manchester United. So if we can give that support to, say, a Timo Werner who, as you said, is spearheading this treble-winning Chelsea side, then Martial obviously deserves at least a degree of time and empathy, given the fact that last season he was Manchester United's top scorer. And he just obviously is running a bit of form. That was UHH, by the way, just to confirm.
No, it wasn't, but continue.
Okay, so, but you had to say you wanted to respond to something. I'm just...
Oh, no. that was about Abramovich showing how amazing he is. It had nothing to do with Timo Werner. It was just showing. This was just showing Abramovich. So I was celebrating.
He was.
I was celebrating Abramovich. But please continue. So Martial, is this a case of someone needs to intervene, coaching wise, or it happens? Deep in form, he'll be cool next season. You don't need to do anything.
Yeah, it happens. And the thing is, like, with a lot of these things, like, I think players are always too quick to. We don't know the environments. We don't know anything like you can make a comparison, for example, with say Jesse Lingard, for example. And how now Jesse Lingard, for example, has gone to West Ham. He seems to fall in his fit. He's arguably one of West Ham's best players. And sometimes it literally is just whether it's just the type of team that you're in. So, for example, teams often are quite compact against Manchester United, whereas against West Ham, they're not. So he has license to play. Or sometimes it's personal things. There are a range of factors to why a player just suddenly like dips in form, personal things as well as a thing. So I don't really know specifically why Martial's form is, because he was arguably one of our best players last season, in my opinion.
And he really missed it, because I believe if Martial was fully on form this season, United would be a lot more closer to Man City.
Exactly. But he's not. I'm not sure whether there's been an issue with Oli, whether it's the club, whether there's been some personal things. There's some rumors that there've been some personal things in the background as well. Whether it's also the difficulty with adjusting to competition, because I've known
or the unseasoned meal that his girlfriend cooked for him.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, I mean, he needs to get Jack Grealish's girl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A coincidence? I think not. You know what I mean? So, for those who don't know about the photo, I don't want to be completely critical of Martial, because like at the end of the day, like it happens that players a season where they just bad. But the only issue for me would be if something comes out where there is a disagreement with Oli or with someone like Lingard, for example. This has been the case maybe the last 2.5 seasons. You can right, okay, fair enough. Martial, to be fair, it's really just been this season. We've noticed a significant dip. So if this carries on into next season, then okay, fair enough. Because he's not going to leave the club, because it's not right now like the club seem as so valuable to be signed anyway. And to be honest, left wing or full striker is not a area that Manchester United are looking at to strengthen the market anyway. So he's going to be here at the club anyway. He's going to get more game time, because I don't think Cavani is going to renew his contract. So you just support him and then see what happens. Hashtag treble minimum.
Oh, easy. So let's move things on, man. Let's look at Europe, shall we? Let's take a wide look at Europe. So, I expected, and I'm sure most of you guys, you expected United to perhaps be in the knockout stage of the Champions League, and I think they should have. How they met up against Red Bull Leipzig, I have no idea. They should have made it through that group, specifically with how they started, with the wins against PSG and Red Bull Leipzig. But it is what it is. But the Europa League is here, and here's the thing about the Europa League. Yes, it is the cousin of Champions League, but it's still a European Cup trophy. Shout out to Eden Hazard, 2 goals and an assist. So it's still a European trophy. And I think what the Europa League is silverware. Now, I get what people say, that silverware doesn't equate into just any points of silver doesn't equate into, okay, you're now back in the big team. Okay, Arsenal won the FA Cup. Are Arsenal now considered one of the biggest teams in Europe? No. But a trophy is still important. A trophy is still key. And I'm sure if you ask Solskjaer, he would have loved to have won that FA Cup. The Europa League, at one hand, represents silverware. Something that Man United needs to get back into the habit of winning, just a trophy, winning competitions, filling up the trophy cabinet. But also this is about Solskjaer. And this is about him winning a trophy. Yes, United are in a healthier state than Arsenal. Yes, United are higher in the table than Arsenal right now. Yes, United will be in the Champions League, while Arsenal won't be. But Arteta can just hold that little FA Cup trophy over his head and say, you know what, I know it is, we're struggling, but This is something. This is success. There hasn't been tangible. I love that word. There's not been tangible success for United, and by that I mean a trophy. Top 4 is not a tangible success. You don't see any of that money. And what's the point in entering a competition that you're not going to win? So tangible success has not yet reached Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So coming to Chimere with this man, how, because here's the thing, 100%, and I'm not even going to ask you this question. United are the favorites, and they should win. They're the strongest team, and they're the favorites to win it. So I'm not even going to ask that they're the favorites. But specifically, how much importance do you put in the Europa League and for United to win in the Europa League? And how disappointed would you be if United failed to win a Europa League with no Sevilla, no Inter Milan, and whereas you are out and out the strongest side left in the competition?
Well, just to add one little point to the Champions League part. It wasn't even the Leipzig game that messed us up. It was when we lost to Istanbul. That's the one that really messed us up.
Oh yeah.
Because if we just drew that game, we would have been through. But we lost. That's what messed us up. But as far as trophies and whatnot, I mean, it's good to win a trophy. Of course, as a fan, I want us to win the Europa League because what I think we should. But I go back to your point. Trophies don't really determine progress because even Wigan won the UEFA Cup and they got relegated that year. So trophies don't really determine. But we should win this because this is a competition. This is a tournament. And you need to see Solskjaer's skills in a tournament atmosphere. Like when he gets to a semifinal, how does he handle a final? And especially, you need to know how these players will handle a semifinal and the final, even if it is the Europa League. Because these players, the one thing we need to do is this is one thing with us. We need to consistently prove we can win games that we're supposed to win. That's one of the issues with our team. That's why I said Man U's a good team. We're a good team. We're not on that level where we consistently beat teams we're supposed to beat week in and week out. That's why we stumble in the Premier League. That's why this Europa League is important, because we need to prove that we can beat teams we're supposed to win against. That's going to be one of our issues, because we should beat Granada, honestly, home and away. If we're serious, we should beat them home and away. But with the way we play, it wouldn't surprise me if we draw the first game. And then when we're in the second game when we have to win, that's when we pick it up. That's the thing I see, because a trophy is a trophy, and Europa League is still a European trophy. It's not the Champions League, but it's still a European trophy at the end of the day, and it's something that a player wants to win. So if I feel like we need to prove we can beat teams we're supposed to beat. We need to prove that we can win when we're actually favorites and not just beat teams that nobody's counting us and everybody's counting us out. And we beat City 2-0. Not like that. I want to see us actually win when we're supposed to win. When we're the favorites. That's how you see how a team is. Because look at City. When City's supposed to win games, they win. Look at Barcelona when they're on top. When they're supposed to beat teams, they win. Bayern Munich, they're supposed to beat teams that beat them. Real Madrid.
So are you now maybe a bit worried that because United are expected to pretty much win any game they're in for the rest of this Europa League, that may count against them, that they always do well when they're the underdogs, but once they're Goliath, it seems to count against them. So are you now worried about that whole favourites tag?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm always worried against them. I've always worried anytime Man U plays a game. I'm worried against anybody, just because you just never know with us. You just never know which Man U's going to turn up, because there's some games where we play and it's like, oh, Man U, we have so much energy. Because look at what we played against City. It was just the whole team was organized. We moved crisper. We passed better. But then we play against some teams, it's like we can't even pass the ball 5 yards. And so Granada, we should beat them. But would it surprise me if Granada won? No, not a bit.
Sean, talk to me, man. Europa League.
I would agree that I would say that we are the favourites from when we saw Tottenham get knocked out. I believe that we are the favourites now. However, we don't know about this Manchester United team. We've seen times where when you need to win, like that Sheffield United game, we don't win. Maybe it's a mentality thing. Maybe it comes from the players or maybe the manager. Plus, with this Europa League, I feel like, as you said, that a trophy does not always mean like you're making progress. Like from Arsenal, like they won the Europa League and then the FA Cup, and now they're mid-table. So I would also say that with this team, from what we're doing currently right now, I think a trophy is essential for what we're doing right now to try and build on for next season, where we can maybe try and challenge for the league. Maybe.
So, do you think United will win the Europa League? Yes or no?
It's like we should, but I feel it's like we may make it a bit hard for us where we may downplay like our opponents, like maybe be too overconfident where we would say, oh, we should beat them, but then we slip up, concede an away goal, and then we struggle to break this team down. But this United team could just go from like that, or just say like, oh, we'll just smoke you 5-0 like what we did to Sociedad. So it's like, it's both ways. Like we could, but I need to see it before I believe it.
Okay. Redman, Europa League, the trophy, the competition you're expected to win. You should win. If United don't do this,
Arsenal favourites.
Red Devil, don't give me that. Don't give me that. Arsenal are out there.
Yeah.
Don't get that crap. You are the clear
No,
100% favourites. Own it.
no,
So Red Devils today as the clear favourites. Would you be disappointed if you're unable to get this dub?
Okay, so I made the correction. I think Arsenal or Villarreal are favourites.
Reverse psychology.
With
Cool.
the assumption that
Jinxing. Okay.
there's no jinx. It's just that's just.
I didn't say anything. I know. Jinx.
Yeah, I'm just stating facts here.
Jinx. Okay. Jinx.
We're playing the assumption that Manchester United are favourites, which is not clearly.
Jinx. Okay, Jinx.
It's not a jinx, So.
No, I didn't say, no. I know. But please continue. So what? Okay, so their chances in the Europa League, Jinx.
So as far as what I would say in respect to Ollie is that like we talk about bottle and semi-final stuff. Like the majority of semi-finals that he's played, they've been single legs. They've been one-off 90-minute games. So when we're looking at actual over 2 legs, in general, he tends to get the job done. Yeah, shout out to Villarreal, but I mean they're in the side I think of Emery's draw, so it's going to be. I think if Villarreal win their game and Arsenal win, then there'll be Emery versus Arteta's Arsenal, which is going to be. I'll definitely tune into that because that's going to be funny. So over 2 legs, generally speaking, I think that those can get the job done, especially with the players that we have coming back into the team. Pogba being fit, Cavani, Van de Beek, Fred, all the rest of it, so Bailly and so on. So over 2 legs, I think United should have no problem against Granada. I know people say, oh, yes, we lost. Yeah, okay, might concede a goal, but, it was like what happened with Istanbul. Yes, we lost to Istanbul. Was it 2-1 or something? Then we pelted them like 4-5 when they came to Old Trafford. So over 2 legs, when we know what we have to do, I think we're fine. My worry, I think, is the final when there's not. If it was a 2-legged final, I'd be confident. A one-off final, it's a problem, depending on who's in the final, the experience. Because any of the managers that are there in the final will have more experience than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has currently. So on the side of the draw, it will be essentially, I think anyway, it's probably either going to be Villarreal or Arteta. Ole struggled to be Arteta, and I think Arsenal have a good squad. And Villarreal, Emery, experience of Sevilla, etc. So I think that final, regardless of the players we have, will still be tough, just based on Ole's previous experience and experience that other coaches have. But the run up to it, I'm not that concerned about because I think over 2 legs we have enough quality to get the job done.
So who do United play in the semi?
Either Ajax or Roma.
So if it's Ajax Roma, you're confident that you can easily
over 2 legs. Yes, not necessarily that we will like if we were away like Ajax, they wouldn't get the job. I think over 2 legs, I'm confident that Roma.
Because Roma have been doing well, and also Ajax is you just never know with Ajax because they can play, but you
don't know exactly. I agree. So that's what I'm saying. Like in a one-off game, I'd be like, oh my goodness, I'd be like, this is concerning. But I think over 2 legs, I think we have enough quality in the team to be able to get the job done. Because as we've seen with United, one of the things we say is that Manchester United, what we say, they will score goals. Yes, okay, we concede. There's a problem, but we also do forget that we do score goals. We generally have it's yes, I think against the Crystal Palace and stuff like that, but those are against teams that are upper defensive. Ajax are on upper defensive side, and Roma, I guess so. but they're certainly not known for their having a really strong defense. So we only really struggle to score goals against teams that are low block, won't give us any space, and just put so many men behind the ball. You're not going to really see that from an Ajax team. I don't think you're going to see that predominantly from a Roma side, although more so than Ajax. And certainly against Villarreal or Arsenal, you're going to see that either. So United are going to score goals. I think they'll have enough at least to get through those teams. It's the final that I'm worried about.
Last thing before we move to our next thing. So let's assume you get to the final. Who would you rather face? Or you think you can beat both? Who would you rather face, Arsenal or Villarreal in the final? Sean.
The thing is, this, if it was Arsenal, it would probably be like one of the biggest matches in social media history or something like that.
Yes, sir.
And Arteta does have a good record against Oli, where I think he's beaten them twice. We haven't even beaten them once. I'll probably say Villarreal at the moment, but I'm not sure. It's either because Emery is a pro at the Europa League, so it's it's either one.
Chimera, who would you rather face, Arsenal or Villarreal?
Villarreal, that's the easy one for me. Villarreal for sure, because of the style of play. Because look at the way Villarreal plays; they're not going to sit back. They're going to come out to play. Because even against Barcelona, they didn't sit back. They came out to play, and they lost 4-0. Because everybody knows, because everybody knows Man U's strengths and weaknesses. We play well against teams that come out to play against us, like City, Sociedad. But against teams that sit back, because Arsenal, when they play us, they attack, but they don't go full forward. They don't push everybody forward. They defend well also. But Villarreal is an attacking team. They're gonna attack, and I think that will leave space for us, which is our best attribute, our counterattack and our counterattacking potential. So Villarreal for me. Plus Arsenal's already beat us, and we haven't scored against them in 2 games. So I don't want to take that risk in the final. So it's Villarreal for sure.
All right. And Red Devil, who would you rather face?
Well, obviously, you already know that I feel that both of these teams are the favourites anyway. So, that's going to happen. So, no, stop bored. That's just facts. That's just facts, as we say. Just like I know Chelsea are favourites to beat Porto. But in terms of who would I rather face, I'd probably slightly lean to Emery, just from obviously he was at Arsenal, and I think when he was I think Oli did play Emery when he was at Arsenal. I think in the first half a bit of the season, I think he did beat him. So as Chimo just sort of said, I think with the way that Emery will play Villarreal, I think that will suit Oli more than the way that Arteta does, where he knows how to set up. He's going to, be a bit more defensive, I think, against. I think Arsenal's defense is actually better than Manchester United, in my personal opinion. And I think if Arsenal because we've got to bear in mind that the final is going to be played sometime after the season's over. So I expect that Arsenal are going to have all their fit players through. And to be honest, I think with Arsenal, with all their fit players, I generally think they have a squad that's at least on par to Manchester United. People say this through, but when you actually go through their 11, when you look at the fact they've got a Tierney, when they've got their Gabriel and Pablo Mari, who are decent. Leno's is decent in goal as well. They've got Partey in the midfield. They've got Odegaard in their midfield. They've got Ceballos in the midfield. They've got Aubameyang. They've got Saka. They've got Lacazette. They've got Emil Smith-Rowe. You cannot tell me that is not a solid squad. So I don't buy this idea that Arsenal have bum-ass, dead-ass players. Yeah, okay, Xhaka from time to time you can score well deep. Yes, David Luiz, sometimes. But in general, they have a solid squad. They should be achieving more. So I wouldn't be surprised if with that cohesive squad, with the players they have, they would cause an upset, and certainly an upset against a Manchester United side that haven't scored against them. So I would definitely prefer Villarreal with Emery over Arteta's Arsenal.
Okay. So penultimate topic here, and I think this is one that I'm sure you guys will like, man. So we're going a little bit back into the past here. And this is Fergie. So again, look, 2 seals in 20 years, but let's just put that to one side. He's one of the best managers in history, an icon of the game, and pretty much completely, totally restructured and reshaped Manchester United in the modern era. Now, I think is the transition. It was always going to be very hard to follow in the footsteps of Fergie because he was such a good manager, an amazing manager, and it's very hard for anybody to sort of replicate his success. So let's just go back to that summer when he left, and then he then then he then handed the reins over to his compatriot David Moyes. Do you think that Fergie should have done more with regards to the transition of the team? Or do you feel that anything he could have done, and I mean anything he could have done, United would have always been in this situation, and you cannot really blame him for the team faltering because nobody was as good as he was as a manager? What do you, if you were just to rewind the clock back, should he have been in a much more of an advisory role for Moyes? Should he have hired Moyes in the first place? Should he have left the club in a much stronger situation for someone to take over? Like, why do you think that the club fell down? Because I mean, most people will say, I know, I want to hear what you guys think. Most would say he's Fergie, and he's a guy that can get blood and wine from stone. You know, he's a guy that can take an average team and make them competitive. So whoever that he gave that team to, they don't have his man management skills, his motivational skills, his strategic skills, and his ability to really maximize the abilities of a player. So let me come to Chimera with that, man. How do you view that transitional period from Fergie to where we are right now? And do you think Fergie could have maybe done more for a smoother, effective transition, or there's nothing he could have done?
To be honest, I don't really see what he could have done because, I mean, you can say we had to invest in the squad, but we were still winning titles. So when you're winning titles, it's like how much the people are owners looking at how much we really need to invest if you're still winning titles with this squad. You know what I mean? And we were still getting to a Champions League final, even with that, you know. So it's not like you know, the squad, it wasn't a great squad, but it's not like the squad was complete trash. But as far as Moyes, like, I think, to be honest with you, I think Ferguson retired at the right time, to be honest, because I think the squad was on a decline. I think, and I think, to be honest, he saw that, to be honest. I think that's part of the reason he left. It wasn't the only reason, but I think that's part of the reason he left also. And as far as Moyes, you know, to be honest, like, Moyes he's not a terrible coach. You know, I just don't think he was the right coach for that team. Because, you know, he's not a coach to coach a big squad. He's not that kind of coach. He's a coach to coach a squad like West Ham, like how he's coaching now, or like Everton, you know. Teams that just want to get in the top four but don't have Sky.
So this is what I always keep on saying, and I've been saying this for years. So you don't think that he deserved at least one summer? A summer transfer window?
No, because for me as a player, like, I mean, me as a fan or whatnot, like, I feel like every manager always deserves at least one summer where they get their own players and they can build their own squad. Because you just never know how good a manager is. Because a manager 1 year, he can finish 8th, and then next year they're competing. Because Brandon Rodgers with Liverpool, what did they finish 8th his first season? Next year they almost won the league. So you just never know. You know, you can't base it off of, oh, this guy was crap this season and he's gonna be trash the rest of the time. You just never know.
So basically, so you feel he should have been given a summer?
Yeah, window. At least one summer. Because at the end of the day, like, we're back to square one again. Because we're still, how many managers have we sacked since then? We sacked Van Gaal, who took Netherlands to a European semifinal in the World Cup. Took him to the World Cup semifinal. So it's not like he's a trash coach. He won the Champions League with Ajax, and that was a young Ajax team. And then Marino, we know Marino's a good coach. You know, we sacked him too. Fans want Solskjaer out. You know, this is the third manager they want sacked now. They want sacked. So it's not like have things really gotten better since we sacked Moyes. It's pretty much the same situation. You know.
All right, Sean, talk to me, man. With the whole Fergie transition.
I think it was the right time for him to go because I feel it's like he just got the amount with the Van Persie sign to get that last Premier League title. I feel it's like the transition into Moyes is like maybe he wasn't the right man for the job. I didn't think he could handle the pressure. I think there was talks about maybe like I think when Fergie met Pep in New York, like when Pep was on sabbatical, like he wanted Pep to take over, or maybe like a Jose, but Pep chose Bayern and Jose went back to Chelsea, where you would say like maybe with a more experienced squad that they could have got more out. But I think Moyes also kind of dug himself in the hole when he got rid of more so the backroom staff from Fergie's time and bringing in his own. So like removing the likes of a Mike Phelan, also René Mulestein, and bringing his own people, where maybe if he kept them in, they could have maybe guided him in much more of a better position. But you could also see like the team was on a decline, and as I said before, Fergie got the best out of them. He had to bring back a retired Paul Scholes into a midfield, and I think it also links back to the Glazers, where I think they didn't really prepare for his exit. Where when you're relying on like the aging Rio Ferdinand, a Vidic, a Evra, and also saying there's no value in the market when City are buying players like Aguero, Yaya Toure, it's like, did they really prepare for life after Fergie, or is it just like thinking, oh, we'll just get a manager and just bring him in?
All right. Red Devil, man. Fergie, thoughts on the full Fergie thing, man?
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously an abrupt tradition. Yes, in retrospect, you could say Ferguson should have done more in terms of preparation transition. I think rumor has it that I think that, to be honest, he wanted to continue, but it was his wife that was like,
Yeah.
So if it was so abrupt, then it's difficult sometimes if you want to do something and you're thinking of going forward, and obviously your personal and something that is saying another thing, they're saying quite abruptly. So you obviously got to make an allowance for life, so you can't necessarily plan every single thing the way if you have that mindset. So that's something to bear in mind. Like has already been said, I do believe Moyes should have been at least sufficiently backed in the summer. Let's be real. He got, in his defense, should have been backed. He got, I think, Fellaini, and that was about it, really, which I don't think is really.
Wait, didn't he get Kagawa?
No, Fergie got.
No, Fergie got Kagawa.
Fergie got Kagawa. Okay.
Yeah, we've also got Mata in January.
You got Mata in January, yeah. But to start your build in the summer, you get like Fellaini from Everton, basically. That's it. That's the first order. So for people, back, Van Gaal and Mourinho were backed heavily, and so you should expect more from those managers as they have. So the negative I would say about Moyes, which I think is what I think caused the cachectic transition, is that rather than, I think, continue with the coaching staff that was there at the time under Sir Alex, he brought his own setup into the club, send them all away. And I think, personally, that's what damaged the transition. Because suddenly you've got the players that are used to...
Go, Paul. Let me pause you on that. See, my thing is, I understand how that could go wrong, but you have to... I think if I'm hiring somebody, you have to hire everything that comes with them. Because you're hiring their idea in the whole 360-degree sense. So for Moyes, my concern isn't United, I've got to do things United. And my concern is that I am here to do the best possible job because you've hired me, David Moyes. And if you're hiring me, David Moyes, it's me, my coaching staff, my medical staff, my team. And me as a team is how I feel I'll do the best possible job, because you make me right and say, okay, you should have kept a little bit of the guys that works at Man United, but what if he comes in and he doesn't work with them? They don't speak the same language, because obviously Moyes was coming in with a whole very different aesthetic and approach, which I think should have at least been backed in the summer. Then he can then pull the plug if he doesn't say what's happening in the summer, because Moyes can't be Fergie. A manager can't pretend to be another manager. So yes, I'm coming to Man United and everything, and I respect what has been here for 20 years, but you've hired me. And if you hired me as a professional, I've got to come in with my team. Because I feel like if I come in with my team, that is the best way I will do my job. Because if I come in with guys who I don't know, I don't have a shorthand with and so forth, that lack of communication could lead to confrontation, disagreements, which will now maybe upset the balance of the team. So,
no, I mean, I generally I agree with that point. So, but obviously we've got the factor of he wasn't backed at all. So that all of what you said is right. So then why didn't they then back the manager? You know what I mean? So so it's the combination of the fact that he was basically given Fellaini, which was easy because he was at Everton to the club. Nobody else in the summer. So this is a manager that's composed for Ferguson, and it's a significant transition, and you don't show your support for him whatsoever, aside from bringing one of his staff. So for me, if you were knowing you're going to do that, it would make sense to say, listen, okay, you want the transition process to be smooth. You're going to be in charge. Let's just work with what we've got right now, and then slowly but surely you can bring in your people. We'll bring in the players that you want. You can slowly build what it is that you want to build as we just make the transition smooth. What happened was the transition was abrupt. Okay, all focus and stuff on out, and you're on your own. Just work with what you have, etc., etc. It was very abrupt. There was nothing, so. And so it was doomed to fail from the start because there was no backing and there was no contingency plan. There's no continuation plan either. So from the David Moyes situation, it is what it is. As far as Van Gaal and Mourinho are concerned, I think they were backed. I think that it was reasonable to appoint experienced coaches. But to be honest, for everyone that criticizes Ollie's football, to be honest, I still prefer watching Ollie's football than I do Mourinho's or Van Gaal's. I'm sorry. The football I played was dead. It was absolutely dead. From Van Gaal's, possession, pass, that amounted to nothing except Southampton scoring, to Mourinho's 10-11 behind the ball. When you're playing against,
it wasn't that bad. It was 6 behind the ball. It was 6 or 7.
The goal that brought the Camels back was when we played. Was it Southampton Liverpool, which was one of the penultimate games before he got sacked, and he played a midfield free, and this was with Pogba on the bench. So anyone cussing that Ollie this is Pogba, he put Pogba on the bench and he played a midfield of Matic, McTominay, and Fellaini. Oh. That was our midfield three. Fellaini, Matic, and McTominay.
He was trying to do something. He was trying to be creative. Man.
What was he trying to do with that front midfield?
He was trying to be creative.
McTominay.
He was trying to live, man. Let him live. Let my boy live. He's suffered enough. He has suffered enough, man.
No. And you've got Pogba on the bench. So don't give me this, Ollie, you can't use Pogba, grief, etc. when you've got a supposedly experienced coach benching him for McTominay, Matic, and Fellaini in the midfield. No, don't give me that. So, long and short of it, it is what it is with Manchester United. And I think because of where we are, it's why I think the Glazers, are roundabout circle where we decided, listen, we need to go in a different direction now. We can't do what we're doing the last 8 years. We need to have that consistency. We need to have that Manchester United way, in quotes. That's why they've got the staff they have right now. And I think they've adjusted their expectations of success to match that. It's as simple as that.
All right. So, guys, man, this has been a very interesting talk. And, as we always do with these things and this is actually one of my favorite times when we do a look back, and, I pick a player. I put up the picture of the player. I give it just a few seconds just to view it. And then we just have a nice discussion of a player. And obviously, this player is a player who's obviously retired and is, more times than not, a legend of the club. So, for Man United's throwback, I'm going to put it up. So when you just see this image, even guys in the live chat as well, give yourself a few minutes. Actually, before I throw it up, let me just hit some of these supers, man. So just bear with me 1 second. So wait, bear with 1 second. From Yes side, who says Bruno's ceiling is the Portuguese Kaká. Simply, Yes side, you're mad. And I'm a guy that doesn't rate Kaká that highly. Bro, Bruno Fernandes is never sniffing Kaká because Kaká technically was a much better player than Bruno. Yes side, please drink water. I think you are drunk. Side again says Europa League trophy looks better than the CL anyways. Stop it. It does look nice. I'll admit to you, it does look nice. But stop it. The CL is still number one, and side I know deep down you have dreams of that Champions League trophy. Red Bull Leipzig said what's up. It is what it is. FC Porto are clear favorites. So guys, I'm gonna pull this up, and again, when you view the image, just give yourself like a few minutes just to soak it in, and then we'll have a nice discussion about said players. So this week's throwback is.
Oh yes.
Why are you laughing?
I mean, it's. I mean, arguably. Well, I'm not well.
Okay, wait, arguably what? Arguably what? What?
Of course. All I can say is
let's not get a bit too hasty.
Man has a treble. Just saying. Not many English midfielders have that.
Well, he didn't play the final, but you know.
I mean, he got them to their final.
So let me come to Chimera first, man. The first thought that comes to your mind when you see this image, like what emotions run through you when you see this image?
I think of his goal against Barcelona in the 08
that was a crazy
semifinal.
goal.
Yeah.
That was a crazy goal.
That's the first thing I think about. Yeah.
Bro, do you know who we beat in that final, by the way? Who did we beat in that final? Remember? I forgot. Literally, I forgot. We beat someone in the final.
Because Chelsea were denied a rematch where Chelsea would have beaten the crap out of you in the rematch because of UEFA.
We didn't force you.
UEFA. Can you please just talk about your emotions? So Chimera, sorry you were rudely interrupted. Continue.
Yeah, and I just think about, like, honestly, Paul Scholes, honestly, I think he's the best English midfielder of this generation, honestly. As far as keeping the ball control, passing, he could hit long-range shots, As far as everything, his tackling wasn't great. You got a lot of, his tackling.
That was I think that was the weakest part of his game was his tackling.
But as far as he was the closest English midfielder as far as to a Xavi-like player or Pirlo-like player. He was the closest. So that's what I think about. I think about how great of a midfielder, because he was such a great midfielder that Fergie had to call him out of retirement. At 35 or 36 just to play in midfield. That's how great he was, and his legacy cemented. He's one of the best midfielders of not just England, but in my opinion, all time. So that's what I think.
Sean?
Similar to what he said, I think he is the best English midfielder of his generation. And I think it's a disgrace that how they shifted him up to the wing for Gerrard and Lampard.
We'll discuss this. We will discuss this.
And I would also say that in 2008, we won the Champions League with an all-English midfield, Scholes, Carrick and Hargreaves, but they never tried to use that midfield.
Red Devil, talk to me, because I definitely want to touch upon the Lampard Gerrard thing, but just first of all, initial thoughts.
I mean, like I said, one of the world class, and from the Manchester United academy as well. From the academy, played for Manchester United under Sir Alex Ferguson. So this is the guy that was bought and developed. But this is a guy that had talent, continued to have talent, and had the consistency. And I'm a consistency merchant because
I'm a moments merchant. So
yeah. So and it's different influence, but for me, I always value the fact that you deliver when you play at the highest level. It's as I think Chimay was saying. It's this is a dude that will have to be called out of retirement to play United's midfield and help them win a Premier League title. I think that wasn't. Shout out to Fergie, by the way. You get a retired Scholes at 35, and you get Phil Jones playing at centre back, and you win a Premier League. That's management. That's freaking management. So I don't think Pep does that. So Paul Scholes, one of the best ones of his generation. Absolute disgrace the way that he was treated by England, to be honest. And we saw what happened. I don't think it's any coincidence that they constantly got bantered until the golden generation went away. And like I said, this amazing goal in the semi-final against Barcelona, where we obviously go on to win against a certain team. Denied another treble, unfortunately, because of some dodgy refereeing decisions against Portsmouth in that year.
Give me a break.
So, but he's certainly got one. And if we're talking at trophies, specifically at trophies, he's the most decorated, arguably most decorated English midfielder. and best quality English midfielder that we've seen. You can't deny that. So, and part of that comes to the magic of this guy. We know what other people said about him as well, i.e. Pearl and what have you. So, yeah, brilliant.
So let's deal with the orange peacock in the room. Gerard Lampard Scholes. Why do you? So here's my thing. And I'm going to talk from a footballing point of view. From a pure footballing point of view, I don't have any skin in the game and so forth, and I'm a complicated Chelsea fan. So I will always give you the footballing truth over any kind of allegiances. Scholes is the best English central midfielder of his generation. It's not even up for debate. He is superior to Gerrard and Lampard. There's not even a discussion. He's superior. Why do you think Gerrard and Lampard in the England team were favoured over Scholes when it was obvious Scholes was superior to them? So why do you think that? Why wouldn't they sort of build the team around Scholes? Put Lampard and Gerrard any way that they fit in, but the nucleus, the heartbeat of the team is Scholes, and Scholes sets the tempo of the entire team. Why do you think that they opted for Gerrard and Lampard over Scholes? Do you think this is because we're living in this world of data and numbers? And because Gerrard and Lampard's sort of numbers were greater, they viewed them as far more effective, so they just played them in their strongest position and just shoved Scholes in them. So why do you think Gerrard Lampard were favoured over Scholes, when Scholes was the better player?
Is that back to me? Sorry, is it?
Anyone can jump in. Okay, Red, you can jump in, Red.
Okay, quickly, yeah. So, I don't know. I think that it may be because he was ginger. I know there's a ginger thing in England, so that's I have to speculate. Maybe because I'm generally trying to think of the differences as to why they just decided, you know what, just do it with him. Sometimes it might be hype. I know Liverpool fans Gerrard is amazing. Gerrard is great. Exactly. I literally don't know the footballing reason as to why, because even playing Lampard and Gerrard together didn't really make sense. It didn't work. We knew that. So Carrick should have been. Yeah, I agree. I think Carrick as a defensive midfielder was actually low-key underrated. That's my answer. I can't think of a footballing reason. There must be some other non-footballing reasons, because as we've gone through, his technical ability, what he's achieved at Manchester United, what was the reason? I can't think of a footballing reason.
And I mean, Chimera, can you think of any reason why that Gerrard and Lampard were favoured ahead of him?
Because I think, to be honest, if you look at the casual fan and the people who I guess what you want to call them, the experts or analysts, or that talk on those shows, most of them are going to talk about Gerrard and Lampard, because those are the ones that were scoring goals, that were mentioned week in and week out. Because you rarely hear anybody talk about Paul Scholes. I rarely heard anybody in the media talk about Paul Scholes until he was about to retire. That's when they start talking about how great he was as a player, what he achieved. But you rarely heard him talk about it while he was actually playing, But every time, about Gerrard and Lampard, you heard it week in and week out. So I'm sure in England, Gerrard and Lampard were looked at as the better players than Scholes. I'm sure that's part of the reason why. That's part of the reason why they shipped the Scholes to win, because he was looked at as the inferior player in their eyes. Because he didn't get much leeway, because he didn't get much love. Because, like you said, it's also a numbers thing. For watching a player like Scholes, because in his younger day, that's when he was scoring a lot of goals and getting numbers. But you didn't really see how important it was to Man U, unless you actually watch the games.
You have to watch the games, yeah.
Unless you actually, because most people would see, oh yeah, Lampard scored 20 goals, Gerrard scored a ridiculous goal. Yeah, that's what most people saw, But they didn't see how Paul Scholes made the midfield work.
Yeah,
because without Paul Scholes in midfield, bro, it didn't work.
And I see that is the key thing, because you see, and this is where you just have to understand footballing thing, because see, the issue whenever you have this Gerrard Lampard Scholes thing is that, I'm not tribalistic. I care more about footballing truth than being tribalistic. So if you're a Chelsea fan, you feel you have to say Lampard was the best. If you're a Liverpool fan, you feel you've got to say Gerrard is the best. If you're a United fan, you feel you have to say Scholes is the best because I'm being tribal, yeah. But let's just talk football. As Chimera just said, if you're using your head, if I'm a manager, because I played central midfield was my position, so I understand that position. the first thing you need a controller. Before anything, your number 10, your DM, your box to box, you need who is the guy that we go to keep hold of the ball, to give us possession. That's the first player that you need. Lampard can't do that. Gerrard can't do that. Gerrard and Lampard are impact players. So Lampard was a guy who is a very good goal scorer. So Lampard relied on the work of Makelele and Essien to hold the midfield together. Gerrard relied on the work on Jabi Alonso to hold the midfield together so he could roam and go box to box. Lampard was just there spamming shots, hence why he led to his goals. But for a Lampard and Gerrard to succeed, you needed Scholes. You needed Scholes. So what you saw in England was there was no balance. So when they played a quality team, whether it was a Portugal or a Croatia or so forth, they got outplayed because they had no midfield, because Gerrard and Lampard had no concept or understanding of knowing the discipline of a central midfield, because they didn't know how to keep the ball for a long period of time, and knew about and the correct pass choices, which is what a guy like a Scholes does. Where Scholes, give me the ball anyway. I know when to go short, when to go long, when to switch it, when to hold it, when to go back, when to give the penetrative pass. I'm the sponge. Just give it to me. I'm the metronome. Give it to me wherever it is. I will keep us in the game. Gerrard Lampard, they don't possess those skills now. Gerrard Lampard have skills that Scholes doesn't have in terms of what they can do on both ends, or what they can do in the final third. But the center of the pitch, you need a player that has specific attributes and a specific football icon understanding that Gerrard and Lampard didn't have.
Hey, HH, quick question. Do you think, because I'm now thinking about it along with the whole footballing reason, and do you think that it's almost what you and Sean have said, in that, is this because of what the nature up until recently of English football was, where it's the idea of we want the numbers, hard-working, merchant type thing, as opposed to this, you couldn't really appreciate someone who had better technique, vision on the ball, because it wasn't really about that. It was about what type of goals you're scoring, how much hard work you're doing, and maybe to the layman.
No, because this goes back to the whole Mason Mounts thing. Why are England so in love with the Mason Mounts? Because Mason Mount's game is very similar to Lampard's. Take shots, impact, go forward, give an effort, work hard, try hard. No real technique, no real guile, no real understanding. Because it's made sense why Xavi was such an admirer of Scholes. Because Scholes represented something continental, not English. Because in England, they would always champion a Gerrard and a Lampard because they're just effective, and they go forward. They try really hard. They run. They give an effort, and so forth. Someone like Scholes he's quietly just doing the job, and you have to really understand the nuances of football and understand it's what he wants for you. It's basically, this goes so deep because it's like it goes back to on what philosophy do you have? England's philosophy has always been about work hard, try hard, effort, get goals, shoot, get rid, impact. The philosophy has never been about patience, cool down, let's keep possession, let's find a way, let's gain control of the game, and let's quickly find it and boom, hit them. But let's have possession for about 10 minutes. Let's keep the ball. Let's now make the opposition chase. And then we're going to find it, because Scholes was the guy who I can give me the ball at any point. We will hold the ball for 10 minutes, minimum 10 minutes. Give me the ball, long, short, long, short, boom, pop, boom. But Lampard, Scholes, they can't do that because they're just used to, okay, go, like forward, run, shoot. But which you do need that. But before you get that, you need discipline in the middle. But England have never understood that. Hence why, basically, if you just took, if Scholes, Lampard, and Gerrard were like a different, perfect example. Scholes and Lampard and Gerrard, let's say they are Italian. Scholes is the first name on the team sheet. Scholes is picked for Lampard, Gerrard. Let's say Spanish. Scholes is like the first name on that team sheet. If they are Portuguese, because a Portuguese, Spanish, or Italian mind is like, no, Scholes, we need Scholes because they know how valuable he is for how they want to play their football, which is that we have to control the game for a period of time. But for England, Scholes gets picked last because they're like, oh, no, win. Because it goes back to school. When you're young, 9, 10, 11 years old, England people, they train you to win, not to play the game well. So take shots, long ranges, walk the keeper, run hard, play it forward, get stuck in, keep going forward, play. Because see, in England, there's always a urgency of go forward. There's nothing about chill, be patient, think, take your time. It's chess. Then when the opposition is asleep, then you hit them. So keep possession, fill them out, then you hit them. But England go. So
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense.
So I mean, anybody wants to add in anything with the whole Scholes thing? I mean, do you think England would have done better if they had appreciated Scholes more? If they built the team around him, specifically when they had Beckham, they had Owen, Defoe, and so forth.
I just want to say one thing, like, because the only thing back then, England wanted to play a 4-4-2. They're hell bent on playing a 4-4-2 because that was English football back then. Because we were playing a 4-4-2, but most English teams were playing a 4-4-2, so they're also hell bent on playing a 4-4-2. But my thing is, why are you playing a 4-4-2 and you're gonna play your best positions you're gonna play your best players out of position? Because Scholes isn't a winger. If you're gonna play him on the wing, you might as well play somebody else like who's actually a winger, because it gives your team better balance. Because why can't you bench one of Lampard or Gerrard? Because both of them, because neither of them are like a controller, like you said. You need at least on the pitch. You need one guy to sit in the pitch, and just control the ball. You need at least one guy like that in every team. Look at every team that's been successful. They've had at least one person that just sits there and controls the ball. Look at Germany. They had Cruz. Look at France.
Every team has one.
They really need at least one. Look at Spain. Look at how all the players had to keep the ball. 06. Look at Italy. Pirlo was there. 02. Look at Brazil. They have players who could do that. You need at least one player. You can't just have, because Gerrard and Lampard. I mean, Gerrard. They're both good passers. Don't get me wrong. Both of them can pass very well, but then they can't control a game like Scholes.
Because I saw King Mane say something there. I never said Lampard was a very good passer. So was Gerrard. There's a difference between being a good passer and knowing how to control a game. Those are two different things. But sorry, continue.
Because you look at somebody like let me take an example. See, Pogba, he can pass well.
Pirlo.
But like Pirlo can control a game.
There
players
we go.
Like that. Xavi, Modric, Cruz, players like that, they can control a game. Players like Thiago, they can pass well. But other players, like players like that. Modric,
even let's keep it on topic. Bruno is a pretty good passer when he wants to be. Mm-hmm. He can't control the game. He can give a through ball. He can give a nice pass, but he can't control the game.
Yeah, I agree.
Because every midfield needs at least one person. Because because Gerrard and Lampard, Gerrard and them, like we said, they're both good passers, but both of them also guys, they're box to box more. They like to run in and late and score goals. That was especially Lampard. That's what Lampard made is. That was Lampard's main strength, is his ability to run into the box late and score goals. So that I think the England team, they were unbalanced. I don't even remember who was coaching back then. I think was it Capello in 06?
And Ericsson and Capello.
Yeah, Ericsson. I mean, that's and I think it's the 4-4-2. They were hell bent on playing a 4-4-2. But like I'm saying, if you're gonna play one of your best players out of position, you might as well play a proper winger in your position. Because Scholes isn't a winger. He hasn't played wing. He's not that fast. So why are you gonna play him on the wing? Play somebody else who can give you width. Because they actually if they would have used the team properly, they actually had a good team. Because Joe Cole was a good player, in my opinion. I think he's the best, like out of just natural talent, he's one of the few England players I've seen with just natural talent, like dribbling,
for sure,
beating players, step overs. Because England, that was actually England's best team to me, like as players, but they didn't use it well, So that's what I have to say about that.
So let me just hit this dub. And this is from your boy King Bani, who says, imagine Ole and Lamp under Pep instead of Javi and Iniesta. It wouldn't work. Because Pep got it. And this is what we've been saying on this stream is that give Ole his credit. If you gave this exact same team to Pep, Pep wouldn't succeed. And Pep wouldn't come second or third. If you gave this exact same team with Pep, 2 DMs, no controller, not enough technical passers, he wouldn't be able to function with them, you know. So Pep has to have specific players to succeed. Whereas for Ole, he may not be the greatest manager in the world. He can be effective and get results with not having the most ideal players at hand, man. So guys, look, man, this has been fun, man. Any final words? Any final words before we actually no. When it all ends, this is a good way to end it. When this all ends, what do you think United will have? Do you think it will be second place Europa League champions, third place Europa League champions, second place trophyless, third place trophyless, fourth place trophyless, drop out of top 4? What do you think when it's all said and done at the end of the season? How will Man United's report card read? Sean?
I would say, I believe we will finish top 3. If it would be second or third.
I need the position. Is it second or third?
Second.
Okay. And is there a trophy?
I think we will get to the final. I believe we will get to the final. But
so you will lose the final?
I'll be optimistic and say second and Europa League.
Okay, there you go. So come on, say it with your chest, man. Second and Europa League. Chimere, what happens, man? How does it end for United?
I'm pretty confident in saying we'll finish second. As far as Europa League, if Pogba is healthy, I say we win the Europa League. If he's not, we lose in the semi-final.
So if Pogba is healthy, you win the Europa League?
Yeah, if he's healthy. I think we'll win it.
And Red Devil, don't bring your bomb-ass reverse psychology nonsense, please. Tell me your full truthful thing, man.
No reverse psychology. Only the fact that Chelsea and City are Champions League favourites. That's that. Liverpool getting top 4. That needs to get out there. So that's just fact. So, and as far as United goes, I already said that I don't think they're necessarily favourites for the Europa League, but I'm fairly confident that Manchester United will finish in the top 4. And I think that with our consistency...
No. I need a position. Second, third, or fourth?
I think that we will finish second. We'll finish second.
Okay.
The run that Manchester United have towards the season is actually pretty good, unlike some other teams. So, yeah, second.
And Europa League or no?
I'm going to give it to Arsenal.
So basically second, and so basically everyone has said second on Europa League, man. That's interesting, man.
I didn't say Europa League.
Guys, yeah, okay. So everyone's second on Europa League. Okay, cool. Guys, remember to like the vid. Remember to subscribe if you're new, and so forth. Feel free to fill it in the comments below. And who knows, when we maybe be back with another club-specific show. If there's a club-specific show that I've not done that you would want to do, say it in the comments below, and then I'll try and hook that up for you guys. I want to say thank you to Sean. I want to say thank you to Chimere. I want to say thank you to Red Devil Studio. Also remember to check out Red Devil Studio's YouTube channel. Subscribe to his channel as well. Really, really good United content. And guys, I'll see you on the other one. Peace out. Stay true. Stay real. One love.
Peace.
Peace.